They're offline. Oh, sending data.
Okay. All right. Well, hello there. Welcome back to another episode of DCU Daily. We are back. It's a late night today, but or depending on where you are, it might be early morning or late afternoon. Who knows? We have people usually joining us from around the world. So with that in mind, today's show is going to be packed as always. It's a Monday night show, so we've got all the news from the weekend, from today. Is a big news day, of course, in the world of DC. We had that Superman Icon TV spot drop over the weekend, and of course, we have some other news, of course, from Sundance, like Quentin Tarantino talking about when is he gonna do his final film. We also have some news regarding Christopher Nolan's next movie, The Odyssey. Where is he filming that movie? One of the locations we know about now, and of course we have all the latest from the world of Marvel as well. We'll get into that in quick hits. We have some Daredevil news, some Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man news. Poorna Jagannathan has been talking about the Lanterns TV show, possibly some of the best sci-fi writing she's ever gotten herself into, and she's of course part of the show. So, well, actor talking about a movie or TV show that they are part of and saying it's the greatest thing ever. Yeah, well, we'll get into it and so much more, but of course, to do that, we have to hit that news intro, and then on the other end, we're going to talk about all of those things and so much more.
It doesn't seem to matter what I do. I'm always the number two.
All right, mister, I need to paint my abs on to get nominated. You don't see Robert Downey doing that.
You're kidding. You're kidding.
I can't open the envelope without the...
Warner Brothers is heading back into the Matrix with a new movie in the works.
Wonder what other surprises are in store.
I want to be Bruce Wayne.
I like that. And you're gonna love me.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
You look ridiculous.
Well, not no more, he don't.
What, dude? I can barely understand you. Your accent's insane.
What
Give me a hand up. Nope, I'm actually okay. Thank you very much. Oh, wow. Wow.
All right, well, it's time for the news, and as I mentioned before at the very top of the show, we've got a lot to talk about today. There is so much going on, from DC to Marvel to everything else in between. We have to talk about that and so much more. Quentin Tarantino at Sundance. Of course, I've got with me John. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
I'm doing great. I'm doing, I have some chocolate here. Gonna eat all this chocolate, and then hopefully I can start eating a lot healthier and start fucking properly losing weight. But I don't know if that's ever gonna happen. So I got my chocolate, but that's pretty good. Not in a healthy sort of way, but I'm happy about that. I still got cookies downstairs too, so that's pretty good too.
Nice. By the way, we already have Michael in the chat. We got Fiona in the chat. Hello to both of y'all. We have Jalen. I haven't seen you in the chat very often, Jalen. Hello, Jalen. We have Jose in the chat. Hello to you. Figure drawing. And more people coming in as we get into it. Fiona saying, John, on that Valentine's Day chocolate early. Yeah, John, sounds like you.
No, this is Christmas chocolate, actually. So I tried to get Valentine's Day chocolate, but it didn't send properly. So I got some, they were almost like out of stock with the Christmas one. It's hot cocoa kisses. Really good. So in the words of James Franco's Harry Osborn, so good. It's just not peach pie. That's all.
Right. By the way, we have comments. I've got your comments loaded in already, guys. We have so many comments already about the Superman trailer. We're going to get into the Superman trailer in a little bit. You're going to have to be a little patient because we got to talk about so many other things that are going on. Superman, of course, is the main event.
Delay. Gotta delay
Superman is the main event, and we're going to have that conversation. You guys are welcome to, continue on in the chat already because, oh my God, there's so many things to talk about, from the flying shot to the other stuff that we got. There's a few new pieces of footage in the trailer, and The reason why they dropped the trailer, of course, was because it was NFL Championship Sunday in the U.S. So you had the AFC Championship game, and the NFC Championship game. Actually, it was first the NFC Championship game, and that's, I think, around the time which the trailer dropped. And then, they replayed it again during the AFC title game. So those are basically like the semifinals, if you're not familiar with the NFL, or like the winners of the two games end up playing in the Super Bowl. And of course, we've been speculating that there might be a Superman trailer at the Super Bowl this year, which is coming up on February 9th, literally 2 weeks from now, because or actually a day less than 2 weeks from now, because usually there's a 2-week gap between the championship games and then the big Super Bowl game itself. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit, but to start things off, John, DC has Superman, Marvel has Captain America, and I sent you guys this article on Friday, so I have a bone to pick with you. John and Liz talked about, the projections for Captain America 4 going up. Great. But there was one, you know what? I kind of don't blame you, because there was this one almost throwaway sentence in that article that said the movie cost $180 million. And as this article points out on Superhero Hype, that's way less than, all the rumors said over the course of the last few months. And they actually detail this, because they're not just pulling this, out of their butt. Because, of course, the Hollywood Reporter, a very reliable, trade news outlet, they said the movie cost around $180 million. That includes all the reshoots. That's way smaller than anything we got from like World of Real, which was the outlet that started, basically the rumor, kind of a game of telephone, where they said, according to them, their estimates say the movie cost around $275 million, and of which $100 million was all the reshoots that they did. And then later on, Jordan Raimi of World of Real, he said in that report that the estimated budget for the movie had shot up to $350 million as a result of the multiple rounds of reshoots. And to me, I'm like, look, this movie, you can go and see it and hate it for all I care, or you can go and just have a great time at it. I just don't like the idea that there were these rumors going around that this movie cost twice as much as what it looks like it actually cost. Now, $180 million, it actually puts it on par with like most other recent Marvel movies. I think like Thor 4 actually costs way more than that. Thor 4, I remember,
cost almost $400 million. I think that cost like $325.
It was just ridiculous, like the amount of money that movie cost.
And it still looked like the budget was like $4.
I don't get where that money went. I just don't understand
embezzlement, laundering, whatever the word is.
But when you look at all of those things and then you compare that to $180 million, yes, for most movies, $180 million is huge. Like you can make what is like 4 or 5 Jokers out of that money. Or like depending on whichever movie you pick to highlight. But yeah, $180 million is tame by Marvel standards. So to me, that all of a sudden lowers the threshold for success for this movie, right? Because look, when a movie plays in a movie theater, around 1/3 of that revenue at the box office is kept by the movie theaters. So let's say roughly 66 to 70% of the movie's box office is what the studio gets, which means like if you do the basic math, 180 times 3 is 540 million. So if it makes 540 million, all of a sudden it's made its money back and doubled it, that in profits. Like in order for this movie to break even, now all of a sudden it doesn't even need to cross 500 million. Whereas in the past, if you were to go by, the budget is $350 million, the movie would need to make at least 500 million to just break even. I think now it needs to make like 400 million or less, and you're there. So I'm like, look, all of a sudden it takes a little bit of pressure off of it if you go by the actual number that the Hollywood Reporter is suggesting. John, what are your thoughts on this? Do you feel like this all of a sudden kind of helps the movie a little bit in the sense that, hey, there's not as much pressure on it to become the next big hit in the MCU?
In the words of David Lynch talking about product placement, bullshit. I call bullshit on this. 250 million. Sorry, not 300 million. That was my bad. But I call bullshit on this because they have fudged up budget numbers before. and this doesn't include
I
marketing
mean, it's Hollywood
costs
accounting.
either. I don't believe for a second that this is less than like at the very least like 250, because remember like the Marvels was like 160 at first, but then I think it was like 275 or something like that. So I'm gonna
That's way too much for a movie like with characters half of whom have never even been on the big screen before, right?
yeah.
I mean, that movie
Well,
was
because
like
it
it's
was
like
a
financially
CGI
not set up
fest.
to
That's
succeed.
why it was a
Yeah.
CGI fest. So this one where they have more, known names. You got Harrison Ford. You got more known characters, and the fact, like the reports were like things were reported like this thing was reshot like 2 or 3 times. They say it was only 22 days. Oh, it was only this. I think that's just Marvel, like being Marvel, where they're like, oh, we swear this is how it happened. They're not going to report like actually. Now, unless it's like for sure and I'm proven that, then I don't believe this for a second, because it's just it just raises too many questions, in the words of Batman from Batman Forever. Yeah, I would say a nicely formed stinky loaf. It's just like I don't believe it. I'm sorry. Like maybe that's just, I
Look,
don't mean to be like
I'm just saying,
anti-Marvel or
look,
anything. It's just I've seen so much in regards to this, like it being reshot, this person being cut, this person being added, this person that, like the amount of CGI that's going to be required for Falcon being Captain America. So there's that too. Like I just don't. I genuinely like. I remember somebody, a fucking Marvel super fan, was like, responded to this. I'm like, I don't believe this for a second. And they're like, well, you're a fucking idiot. You need a co-part, or you're in Delulu land. And it's like, because I see like I'm like an objective observer. I see this thing getting reshot multiple times, multiple test screenings, calling it a failure. It getting overly marketed in the past month and a half. And then all of a sudden, this budget is way smaller. So it's like they can report a profit when it might not be. I think this is Marvel fudging their numbers. And the thing is, I think they can get away with it because they're as big as they are. So I just don't know. And I think I don't think, maybe it's not like, I'm not gonna say like the original numbers were like 400 million. Okay, that might be a bit much, but I don't think it's less than 250. I don't think it's less than 250. But I would say maybe 275, 300 is more like the ballpark number, and that's not even including marketing. That I just think they're fudging some stuff up just to make it seem like it's more profitable than it actually is.
Well, I mean, profitability is not even a question. The movie isn't out yet. I mean, it's not even.
I
think, look. But here's the thing. Like, I don't want to proclaim that they're fudging up anything without any evidence of it. Look, here's one thing we can say for sure. In Hollywood, creative Hollywood accounting, that's something that the industry is infamous for. Like, Disney will tell you to this day that the original Star Wars movies were never profitable, technically speaking, because they're probably loaded onto it like all the different expenses that weren't even directly related to the movie itself. Like, that's just Hollywood accounting. But I'm saying, if you simplify it, $180 million budget to me is believable, considering that the vast majority of this film is meant to be more grounded and like more like the Winter Soldier, less like Captain America: Civil War, or even I mean, Civil War even was grounded, but like in terms of the size of the cast and all the different locations, like this movie is meant to feel more like that old school Marvel of like the 2014 2015 era, when they didn't have a big galactic, threat in the movie. I mean, yes, you have Red Hulk, but supposedly the Red Hulk is only in there for like a few minutes.
Report is 4 minutes, but who knows?
Yeah. Which look, 4 minutes of Red Hulk is not as expensive, like considering that they've got already a lot of experience doing a CGI Hulk, and granted, this one is meant to look like Harrison Ford, so yes, they it's not like they just took Mark Ruffalo's Hulk and colored him red, like pick swatch green to red. Like, it's not like that simple. They had to do a lot more work than that, but still, look,
and contort the face to make it look like Harrison Ford as well.
Well, right, but I mean, they probably did face scans and all the other things that go into, and facial capture, and then his performance capture and all of that stuff. So yes, that costs money. But I can believe that it costs 180 million. But yes, of course, yes, it does not include the money they spent on marketing the movie. That's gonna be on top of that, probably another $100 or so million. But even then, I'm like, look, 180 million is a lot less than 350 million. Like, it doesn't make it, because if you go by the 350, it makes it really hard for this movie to be profitable. It would need to get like upwards of 800 million at the box office to really become like, a true hit based on its budget and its marketing budget. But 180 million, it's by Marvel standards, that's like, okay, that's cheap, considering that 4 out of the last 5 movies they made were at least 200 million, if not more. So I'm okay with that. To me, I'm just saying that's a positive. Give Anthony Mackie a chance. I want to go see this movie and see if it's actually good. If it's good, great. If it's not that good, fine. Like, we move on to the next thing. Like Superman's coming out not too long, well, a few months after it. But of course, we'll have the Thunderbolts by then. Then, we've got plenty of superhero stuff to get into. But I just want to kind of point that out. It's 180 million just seems like it's a much more manageable number than what we heard about before. So I personally will take the Hollywood Reporter at face value because they have a reputation to back it up.
They have a good reputation, but I don't know. I'm just skeptical, like with what I've seen.
Which is, completely fair. Now, what we can't be skeptical about is what Quentin Tarantino had to say at Sundance. So, of course, as you guys know, or if you might not know, Sundance is going on right now. It's one of the big movie festivals. This is the movie festival for like the indie movie world. If you're making like smaller art house movies, it was originally created by Robert Redford back in the day. Robert Redford, of course, veteran of the MCU himself. He was in The Winter Soldier. With that in mind, Quentin Tarantino did an interview, while we were basically in the last few days of the festival. So it's starting to wrap up. But he's there. He lives in Israel, so like he doesn't come over to the U.S. too terribly often. And he provided us a reason for why we haven't seen what would be his final movie, essentially, right? Because he's got one more movie to go based on his philosophy. He's gonna do 10 movies throughout his entire career. He's done 9. We were waiting for the 10th one. I want to read something from this article, the quote that he gave us, because he's talking about, hey, I'm in no, and I'm quoting Quentin Tarantino now. He said, "I'm in no hurry to jump into production right now. I've been doing that for 30 years." And he told this to an audience. Like there was a bigger. It wasn't just like an interview with just 2 people in the room. There was a bigger audience in the room. So he continued to say, "I kind of want to not end up doing whatever movie I end up doing until my son is 6." So that's key information. He wants.
I didn't even realize he had a son.
I mean, he's a father of 2, and he said, he talked about, his absence from the director's chair in the past few years has something to do with the fact that he wants to be there for his kids, obviously, which is understandable. There's an image from the event where he was talking about this, and there's a few other quotes from him here, which I think are very, informing, because if you watched our show on Friday, we kind of talked about, how the movie release windows now, like how long movies stay in a movie theater before they end up on streaming, has been shrinking since the pandemic, and it seems to keep getting less and less. Like Nosferatu is already available to stream. It's still in a movie theater, and we are wondering.
I think Wicked's available to stream as well.
Wicked is, and it's still in movie theaters. But anyway, so basically Tarantino continued on to say, he talked about not only just the joys of fatherhood and the family that he has. He also okay, John, I know what you're doing.
What?
But he did reveal that the joys of. Never mind. Tarantino revealed.
He's
working on a play. I know you missed the moment. Okay,
I did. I was focused on chocolate. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Get it. I get it, man. Chocolate takes priority. But anyway, did you know Tarantino's working on a play, like a stage play? And he wants to, try to get it out into the world next year. He said, "Hey, look, if that's a smash hit, that might be my last movie." So basically, what he's writing is as a stage play. If it becomes a big hit, then he's like, you know what, I'm gonna turn that into a movie. But then he talked about what's going on in the world of movies right now, and he said, "Look, I'm really jaded, and part of the reason why he's basically trying to do these other things instead of making movies." And this is where, of course, Tarantino, he uses the F word a lot, the F bomb. So he says, "What the F is a movie that plays in 4 weeks, and by the second week you watch it on television?" Exactly what we were talking about on Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went on to say, "I didn't get into filmmaking for diminishing returns." And then this is the part that I really love. He says, "They pay a lot of effing money to get into that seat, in a in a crowd and or in a venue, let's say for a stage play. Like I think my mom and my sister went to see Aladdin on Broadway just over the weekend, and I haven't asked them what it was like, but like it's an experience that you can only have if you go to see it on Broadway. You can't just watch it on TV at home, right? Especially like not while it's playing while they're doing it on Broadway. So he continued to say that there's no effing taping it. There's no cell phone. You own the audience for that time. They're all yours. They're in the palm of your hand. It's not just about doing art. It's about wowing them. It's about giving them a great night out. That, to me, is effing existing. It's the last frontier, at which point the audience erupts in an applause.
I mean, you can tape it. Like Hamilton was released on Disney Plus because it was that popular. But some of the less popular ones, like stuff that's like off Broadway or doesn't get to the heights of like, Lion King and Wicked and Phantom of the Opera and all that stuff. Although Phantom of the Opera was movies beforehand. But yeah, I kind of agree with him there in terms of that. Because I just there is that idea, because it's like they're Broadway shows. I've been to a lot of Broadway shows. I don't know, probably like 20 to 30 at this point. That they are much more strict when it comes to phones. And then even I wouldn't say that's the last frontier. I would say concerts as well, who are strict about cell phone use, because I know my buddy's a big Ghost fan, and I know Ghost uses those special phone packets that Dave Chappelle uses at his shows, where it's like you put it in like a bag and you can't open it until like the end of the show. Which is like
I've had
great,
to do that.
Because the whole thing about these things is like their experiences. And yes, you can watch like a Netflix special at home, but the thing is, rarely can you watch a concert or a Broadway show at home. Like you can, but it's not the same experience being there, unlike a movie where it's not maybe as big of a screen, but you can still have that overwhelmingly great experience. Like, I mean, you can't see it, but I have my TV right here, which isn't that big, and I watched The Good, the Bad, the Ugly on it, and I still appreciated how great that movie was, even on that smaller television, because it's just that good. But I think a movie, it's just like, because we were talking about this, until movies get strict about cell phone use, which I don't think they will outside of Alamo Drafthouse, that is, then they'll never get there again of like having that's what I'm saying. We have Netflix specials at home. That's why I didn't say that. I said the Broadway shows and concerts, because you don't really see a filmed concert anymore. You rarely see that. They did it back like in the 90s and stuff like that, but you rarely see like a filmed at least like maybe people who go to like music festivals more than I do.
Which is fair, but still, like, look, I mean, to me, the key thing here is Tarantino's not in any hurry to direct his final movie.
No.
And part of the reason is because he wants to wait. Yeah, I mean, part of the reason is because he wants to wait till his son is able to be with him on set, which is great. I mean, look, again, he's not somebody who talks about his family all the time, so like it's good to hear that, of course. Much like I think Ryan Reynolds has said it recently, like he doesn't want to miss the lives of his kids, so that's why he's doing fewer and fewer movies. And obviously he's got a business empire, like him and Blake Lively both, and they're doing very well with that, to the point where the paychecks they get from the movies that they do are good, but they're certainly not in any need for those if they decided to stop acting tomorrow. So Quentin Tarantino, of course, he's been working on that play for a long time. He basically said, look, I will hopefully try to get this out in the world, and if it's a smash hit, then I'll just turn that into a movie, and then that'll be it. That'll be me retiring, but I'm not in a rush to do it. I mean, why should he be, right? Like, he's got every right in the world to take his time and take part in everything else. I personally, the only thing that bothers me about his approach is why, like, put yourself in this box where you only have one more movie left. Like, imagine if he... Like, if it was me, I'd be like, you know what? Maybe I do want to do 2 more movies. But, like, I kind of said that I want to do... I'm like, I don't know him personally, so I don't know, like, his frame of thinking. But I'm like, if it was me and I'm like, you know what? I only have one more movie left on this, collection that I have built over the course of my career. But I kind of want to do, like, 2 other story ideas that I've got as well. But I can't direct it because then it will all of a sudden I would have done 12 movies and I said I did 10. I mean, John, do you think like this? He's kind of putting himself in a box where, like, I mean, I'm sure the world would love to see 5 more Quentin Tarantino movies, but he's like, I only got 1 more left in me, and I'm in no hurry to give you that movie.
Yeah, I think like he's gonna want to do like a whole bunch of other shit now, like stage plays, producing, maybe writing. Because he just said directing. Like, he didn't say like anything regards to filmmaking. Maybe he wants to write some things and then, hand it off to somebody else. Although, he's done that a bunch of times. He did that for True Romance. He did that for Natural Born Killers, which he ironically hated. And then he also did it with, the fucking vampire movie, not Dead by Dawn. What is it? Fucking, oh my God, what's the name of that? George Clooney. He
Somebody
starred
let us
in
know
it.
in the chat.
What the fuck? Why can't I think of? Oh my God. Jesus fucking Christ. Why am I being stupid right now?
Dusk Till Dawn?
Dusk Till Dawn. Jesus.
5 Ash Art. Thank you. There you go.
God damn. Like, how the fuck I love that movie. Great vampire movie. Fucking Juliette Lewis, Harvey Keitel. Great fuck. I don't know how the fuck I forgot that title. Damn. I feel like an idiot right now. Damn.
All good. Happens to the best of us. 5 Ash Art is like that. It's a good movie. Yeah. I mean, Figure Drawing saying he wants people to need to see his last movie. Look, Quentin Tarantino knows how this business works, and he's certainly not shy about like speaking his mind. He's very outspoken. I get it, but the artificial scarcity of like what he's doing. Look, if it's just a philosophy thing of he only wants to ever do 10 and that's all he's gonna do, that's fine. I get that. I just think like if he wanted to do more than 1 more movie, don't like I hope he's not just like, oh, but I can't do more than 1 more movie, like he was working on a Star Trek movie that I don't know if it's ever gonna happen. He's like, there's like every year we hear like, oh, he's working on something new, he's involved with this and he maybe be writing that, but like ultimately I'm like, he's still trying to decide, I guess, what his final movie is going to be. Clearly, I mean, if that play doesn't work out, then that's another idea down the drain. But like we'll still keep on waiting for whatever his next movie is going to be, his final movie. But anyway, Hosea saying love Django Unchained. Want to show my son that movie so bad. LOL. Well, you know what? It is a good movie, but if your son is under 18, then you probably want to wait a little bit, because yeah. 5 Ash Art saying I like Juliette Lewis. Richie, would you eat my? Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna finish that sentence. We're trying to be a bit more of a family show, but I hear you, 5 Ash Art. With that in mind, let's keep the ball rolling. I promised earlier we're going to talk about Christopher Nolan, so going from one great filmmaker to another, and whereas Tarantino's only got 1 more left in him, Christopher Nolan, he's now not putting a limit on his ambitions. He's only going bigger and bigger. He just won his first Oscar for Oppenheimer, and with that in mind, he's back at Universal and he's working on the Odyssey, John. So as the title says here, as the headline says in Variety, Christopher Nolan is now set to shoot part of the Odyssey on Sicilian Goat Island, where Odysseus landed in the original, the Odyssey. So I'm like, look, I look at this headline and I'm like, oh, immediately it kind of takes me back to when we heard that he was going to be doing Oppenheimer, and we were like, is he asking the U.S. military to like hand over like an old nuke so he can blow it up because he wants to do like a real nuke? Like when he showed the work on the atom bomb,
which apparently looked really fake. I remember I was talking to somebody like they were like, "Oh, that looked so fake looking. It clearly wasn't a nuke. That's why it looked like shit."
No. The first atom bomb from that era, like, because people look at it and like, oh, it doesn't look like the big mushroom cloud that you're used to seeing in the bikini asphalt.
No, I know,
test.
But like, yeah,
it's
you
not
had
that.
Like that.
It's
like,
not a hydrogen
like,
bomb.
Oh, it's still fake looking. Can't please everybody type of thing.
Yeah, but look, as far as getting it right visually, I think his depiction of what he did with Oppenheimer, and supposedly no CGI whatsoever, all done in camera, all SFX, no CGI. It was just, I was impressed. And clearly, one of his highest grossing movies of his career, certainly the most successful if you go by the number of awards it won, including Oscars. And yeah, I mean, between Tenet, Dunkirk, and Oppenheimer, and even The Dark Knight Rises, which I felt like was the first time he kind of like just grew his ambitions for the scale at which he makes his movies. He's kind of sprinkled in some IMAX shots in The Dark Knight, But then with The Dark Knight Rises, it was like, we're gonna get even more bigger. And now he's like, okay, we're using this new IMAX technology on this new The Odyssey, which is just continuing to. I feel like there was a filmmaker back in the day who sort of had this problem. Not Stanley Kubrick, but I'm forgetting his name. Who sort of later in his career, he started to kind of like go in more and more in extremes of telling a bigger story on a bigger scale, and eventually like the storytelling started to drop off, and you know, the scale of the movies kept going bigger. But so far, Christopher Nolan has not shown any decline, and you know, as long as he continues to tell good stories, I mean, I'm all for it, John. But what are your thoughts on this? He's gonna film part of the Odyssey on Goat Island in Sicily.
I mean,
where Odysseus actually landed in Homer's
I mean,
original
it just
story.
makes sense. The goat is gonna film on the goat. Just makes sense to me.
Some of you guys in the chat are like, he's overrated. I don't know, man. I think Christopher Nolan is probably the best filmmaker working in Hollywood today. And yeah, it's to me this is just another example of, you know, Christopher Nolan's like, I'm not gonna settle for a soundstage. We're not gonna do a stand-in location. No, we're gonna go to Sicily,
Bro,
which according to
did somebody
scholars,
try to say Tom Holland is 14? What?
Somebody tried to compare Tom Holland to Tarantino earlier. I don't know. The chat is going off right now. But yeah. I mean, look.
Tom Holland's like in his mid to late 20s. What are you talking about?
Yeah, dude. He's almost 30. According to scholars, the Goat Island in Sicily was apparently a location for Odysseus's wanderings in the epic composed by Homer around 8th century BCE. So yes, indeed, Christopher Nolan's like, you know what? We're gonna go there. We're gonna go to the actual island where, you know, the story takes place in the book, and we're gonna make that happen for the movie itself. So I'm excited to see it. I mean, it's literally got every big star in Hollywood today. He's got Batman in it. He's got Spider-Man in it. He's got MJ in it. Who else does he have in it? He's got Matt Damon in it, of course. The cast of this movie is absolutely stacked. So. Yeah, he's probably the most sought after filmmaker in Hollywood today, and you know what? The Odyssey continues to grow in scale. So, with that in mind, John, we have to move on, and we have to move on from the news, and we have to dive into the quick hits for today, shall we? So, why don't you hit us with that Bossa Nova elevator music, and we're gonna dive into quick hits. All right, okay, let's dive into quick hits, shall we? So, Michael B. Jordan and Haley Steinfeld. They are starring in, of course, the new Sinners movie, which is coming out on April 18. They just dropped a new teaser, and the full second trailer drops, I believe, tomorrow, John. What are your thoughts about this? Did you watch this? Because to me, I mean, I haven't seen the first trailer, so immediately I was like, wait, there's two Michael B. Jordans in this movie? And then I heard the song that they're playing here, and I was thoroughly creeped out. What about you?
I've been on it since I saw this teaser. Looks amazing. Can't wait to see it. Vampire neo-western. Sounds baller to me.
It looks insane, dude. This, I mean, if to me, again, this is the first teaser I've seen, because apparently they put out a first teaser trailer like a few months ago. So this is like a teaser to the second trailer that's coming out tomorrow. So I know we're gonna be live and, you know, with Liz tomorrow, and we'll probably talk about it when it does come out. But this is great.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it
This
looks amazing.
great.
This, of course, is directed by who directed Black Panther? Ryan Coogler. Ryan Coogler going to Warner Brothers to do this, and I'm excited. I mean, look, Ryan Coogler and Warner Brothers, maybe that's a budding relationship that can continue beyond just Sinners. To me, just the cinematography here, it's just so. It's engrossing. It's immersive. It brings you in immediately. What I told you before the show started was this gives me Get Out and From vibes. Like if you combine the vibes from Get Out and From is the TV show that's on MGM Plus or Amazon, depending on where you find it. And then, you know, Get Out, of course, is the Jordan Peele movie, and it's just giving me like, you know, a crossover between the two of those things. It looks great. I can't.
I love how in this day and age we have trailers for trailers. That's just. This is exactly what God intended when He created the earth.
Yep. And you guys in the chat, you're looking forward to it. We got Monumental Comics in the chat now. Hello to you. And Jalen Harris is looking forward to it. Ryan Coogler's first movie with Warner Brothers. The Watcher also thinks that Nolan's movies are overrated. Well, you know what, Watcher?
Why don't you suck this dick? How about that?
Speaking of sinners, these 2 new posters dropped, John. I mean, the posters, not entirely like, groundbreaking or anything like that, but I'll take it. If they're starting to ramp up the marketing. Did anything stand out to you here? It's not like character posters. It's just a bridge with the movie name on it, essentially.
Looks cool to me. I mean, no matter what they do, I'm gonna fucking see it. It's like,
I know you
already
will.
had
I know.
me. You
They
don't
got
need to
you.
do anything else.
They got you.
Me. Boom.
Yeah, and Jose
Yeah.
saying is giving me Lawless vibes. Yep, absolutely. 5-Ash Art saying the last Dune movie was
the only way they'll like not get me is if the next trailer features like, oh, we also added Rebel Wilson, Amy Schumer, and Pauly Shore to the cast, and actually, it's not actually directed by Ryan Coogler. It's directed by Taika Waititi. That's the only way that they'll be like that. I'm like, no, hell no.
I would love to see Pauly Shore make a cameo in this movie. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah.
No, it wouldn't.
That would be great.
Can we shoot Pauly Shore in the head, please?
If you want to make the drive down to New Jersey, you're welcome to give it a shot.
Nah,
yourself.
I'm just kidding. Like, he sucks,
but
I wouldn't kill him.
Invincible Season 3's cast, of course, we know it's so stacked. It's so stacked that
hey,
Prime
look,
Video...
Simu Liu is playing an actual superhero while he's waiting for the fucking Shang-Chi sequel that's never gonna happen.
I mean, dude, the thing about this post, they told us who Aaron Paul is playing, who Kate Mara is playing, who Simu Liu is playing. Then, of course, Joel Maridueña, Blue Beetle, is also in there. Then they told us who Jima is playing. He's a great actor. I love him in everything I see him in. Christian Convery is playing Oliver. And then you got John DiMaggio playing the Elephant. But then they're like, the cast is so good, we can't tell you who Jonathan Banks is playing. And we also can't tell you who Doug Bradley is playing.
They got Pinhead in there.
Dude, who do you think these 2 guys are playing in the show? Any guesses?
I mean, for Doug Bradley hasn't really done a ton outside of playing Pinhead. Like, he's done stuff. Like, I'm not saying he hasn't done anything, but if I were to take a guess, this is all about homages to superheroes and all sorts of other things. I mean, Robert Kirkman is like a fan of stuff and uses a lot of homaging in his work. So being heavily involved in the show, I wouldn't put it past them to, like, there's going to be like a hell demon or something, like some demonic entity, not acting like a villain who looks like a demon. I could see them casting Doug Bradley for that, like something like that. And then I can see Jonathan Banks playing like a very, like, thing is, I don't know the comics, so they might be Viltrumites, but Jonathan Banks, I could see him as a Viltrumite, or but I could see him as like maybe a smaller, more grounded villain, something like that. I think that could work too. But whoever they play, they're great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in seeing what these characters end up being. Jonathan Banks, he was in that show Constellation on Apple TV Plus, which also had Noomi Rapace. I mean, good show, not exactly. The science of it didn't quite work. It was like a parallel world, sort of a sci-fi thing. And he actually plays like 2 versions of himself from 2 parallel realities. In one, he's incredibly successful, and the other one he's not, like, because some significant event in their lives like went 2 very different ways. I mean, I love him as an actor. What was the show that he was in before that he's really famous for?
Breaking Bad?
Yes, I'm forgetting. Sorry.
Wow.
Just having a moment.
I thought I was
having a moment.
forgetting.
I'm having a moment. It's fine. I just love, the work that he did in that show, and of course now everything else that he does, he hits more often than he misses. With that in mind, John, speaking of hits more often than missing, the Daredevil showrunner just said that the series is not leaning into the hero's divisive She-Hulk cameo, aka they're not really gonna touch upon it all that
shit.
much.
That would be fucking stupid if they did that. that thing that virtually everyone fucking hated. Yeah, let's not lean into that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm okay with that. I'm totally fine with it. Even if we have the helmet from that cameo and amongst the parade of helmets that he has in the trailer, I'm okay with that. But you know what? Here's the other story. So while the showrunner was, talking about that, they also mentioned that, hey, this MCU series has less navel gazing than the Netflix show. And here's a quote in there that I think you're gonna probably find very interesting. This is from the SFX magazine. You remember we talked about the cover the other day in Quick Hits? So there was an interview in there with the co-creator of the show, and he says in there, this is more fun in the moments with these. There is more fun in the moments with these characters and a lot less navel gazing than before. The earlier show, aka the Netflix show, at its best was fantastic. At its worst, it was two characters in a room talking about what a hero is. I felt that had been done. I'm not taking swipes, even though he is. I just didn't want to hear characters grousing about their lot in life. I wanted to see them doing things, and this is going to be a much darker show. What are your thoughts on that?
Bro doesn't understand what character building is. That's crazy. Yeah, the thing is, there are a lot of things. If you think two people talking in a room is boring, then you're not a good writer / director, because a good writer director can make that interesting. And if you automatically think two people talking in a room is boring, then you're frankly a fucking idiot. Because the reason that the Daredevil show was so fucking fantastic was not because it was, we're like got like massive amounts of blood, it's violent, guns, fight. The reason it was good is because you fucking gave a fucking shit about the characters involved. And some of those scenes involve two people talking because it builds the characters up so you care about them. You know, I know that's like fucking crazy, like actually letting the audience breathe and build the people that are taking place in your story. I know that's like so fucking crazy in modern Marvel, where you have to have nothing but like horribly CGI'd action scenes and then explaining exposition and then going off to the next action scene. I know that's like really fucking crazy. So crazy. Oh my god. Like, it's just like, that's like, this is just like, I just feel vindicated right now. I'm like, I expect nothing from this show. I expect very little from this show. Very little. So, this, whatever little excitement I had goes down majorly, because this is coming from someone who fucking didn't understand what made the Netflix show so good to begin with. And if you think we're going to be on your side just because you're promising darker stuff and using like boring dialogue scenes from the original show that everybody loves, by the way, as a flex, then frankly, you can fucking suck a gigantic cock, because you're a fucking idiot. And now I want to watch your show even fucking less, to the point I might even refuse to watch it because you're acting like a fucking Nimrod. Okay? So like, you're trying to like, because the thing is, if you fuck this up, like, there is a massive amount of Daredevil fans that will never fucking trust you again and never watch your shit again because of how diehard this fan base is for this fucking show. So fucking eat a dick, navel gazing, whatever the fuck that means. Shut the fuck up. Just like stop. It's like the James Gunn. Like, I love James Gunn, done a lot of good decisions, but he needs to stop talking. And frankly, you need to stop talking. You need to take Zachary Levi, James Gunn. Y'all need to just stop fucking talking and just zip your shut. All that. Shut your mouth. Just stop. Just stop and move on. Nobody wants to hear you talk. All right. So stop. It's like the fucking ego on these fucking dickwads is just astounding to me.
It's like, remember when Dylan Clark was mouthing off about, oh my god, I think our movie's better than The Dark Knight, before the Batman came out. I mean, look, they kind of backed it up. I don't think it's better than The Dark Knight, but I hate it when, the people start to say, oh yeah, our movie's the best thing since sliced bread, or our TV show. Like, come on now. Speaking of which, they, in the same interview, the showrunner also compared Daredevil to the Penguin, saying, we are even more grounded, even less stylized, even more rooted in the here and the now. I love Penguin. We're a little faster, meaner, and cleaner in our storytelling.
The Golden Globe winning television series? You mean that one? Yeah, interesting how you're claiming that right now. Okay. This dude needs to stop fucking talking, because I swear I have never wanted to punch someone more than I do this fucking stupid fuck right now. Stop talking. Please. Please stop talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay, it looks cool, but like, is the show good? Yeah, that's cool. Is the show good?
I mean, look, we got Alvin in the chat. Hello, Alvin. He's saying, "True dude is 100% correct." What do you mean, like about the Netflix version of the show? I don't know. But yes, Hosea, The Penguin is a great show, an award-winning show. Probably gonna win even more awards when the Emmys come around. But yeah, and the Watcher's saying less stylized. Daredevil better be stylish. What is he talking about? Exactly. I mean, if you watch the trailer, it's plenty stylized. I think it's plenty stylized. But yeah, look, like you said, John, this guy needs to just tone it down a little bit. Let's not hype it up so much that, you know, the expectations go so far beyond what the show can deliver. But anyway, moving on. A little more Marvel stuff here before we get into DC. Of course, the Russo brothers, according to rumors, to take it with a big grain of salt, they are going to stick around to oversee the X-Men reboot after Avengers Secret Wars. Thoughts?
Does Marvel just hate their own shit? Like, I'm just like, do you want like the worst X-Men movie to be made? Is that what you want? Like, because that's gonna happen if these fucking Nimrods are fucking in charge of your shit. I don't care what anybody says. Outside of the Winter Soldier, no Russo brothers movie has been good. Civil War sucked, Infinity War sucked, Endgame sucked. I don't care what anybody says. All of those movies are just like, they're not good. Civil War, like, okay, I'll give you, like, it's
Civil
better
War
than
was a
the
good
comic.
movie. I enjoyed
I'll give you that.
Civil
It's
War.
better than the comic, which is not saying much because from what I've heard, the comic is garbo. But it just, like, so much out of character shit, poorly written, just poorly, like, the cinematography is just boring to look at, so gray and boring. It's the fucking choreography. Like, that's the one terrible thing I will say about Winter Soldier is the fight choreography is dog shit. Like, easily. Civil War.
Dude, wait, hold on. The Winter Soldier's fight choreography was pretty good.
Oh, that shit was dog shit. Like, it was shot horribly, edited horribly. All of that was terrible.
I disagree with you on that part. I'm sorry. I enjoy it.
Don't get me wrong. I love Winter Soldier. It's top 5 Marvel for me. The fight scenes were terrible in that movie. And then Infinity War is just explaining shit the movie. And then Endgame is just like 2 hours of time travel shenanigans that don't fucking make sense. And then 1 hour of lowest common denominator fight sequences that lead to like fighting a villain that doesn't matter because it's a villain from 10 years in the past. So there's no buildup. They're like, oh shit, we promised a Thanos fight, but we can't give it to them now because he's dead. So we have to give you a Thanos from 10 years ago. But then there's no buildup. There's no respect there. There's no, like, I know everyone loves the meme. I love the memes. Like, even in bad movies, I love the memes where it's like, I don't even know who you are. It's like, okay, that's funny. But like, when you think about that from like a lens of like a filmmaking lens, your villain that you've been building up for 10 fucking years doesn't know who your characters are. That's an inherent flaw in your fucking writing and your storytelling, because like, this is the cinematic universe thing. You're building up a villain and the villain doesn't know or doesn't care who you are.
Look,
like,
I get all of that, but as far as their fit to do the X-Men film, because look, the X-Men movie is going to be like the big event film of the next phase of Marvel, right? So
it's the mutant saga. That's what's promised.
With that in mind, look, yes, you may have different opinions on the Russo brothers, but at least from a financial standpoint, the Russo brothers have been behind Marvel's most successful movie, the second most successful movie, and like 2 of their best received movies by the critics and audiences. So they haven't missed yet when the Russo brothers have collaborated with Kevin Feige. So I look at it and I say, you know what? if Doomsday and Secret Wars suck, which, you know, we'll see, then I'd be worried. But like you mentioned before the show started, if the X-Men movie flops, there's a very good chance that they'll be comparing it to, oh, you know what? Just bring the Fox X-Men back.
Exactly.
They were better done. And you know what? Some of those Fox X-Men movies were really, really good. Some of the best Marvel movies of all time.
When people realize, because here's the thing, here's what I'm going off of. I know this might not be fair because they are Marvel, we're talking about Marvel movies, and for the most part, people like all 4 Marvel movies he's directed, and that's fine. I know I'm an outlier. I'm not, I'm not saying like, I'm just like, there's inherent flaws that I think people are missing because people like the fight scenes and all that stuff, and that's fine. But like, if you like it, that's cool. I'm not gonna, yuck your yum. If you like those movies, I can see why people like them. However, when you look at the movies they've directed outside of the Marvel movies, none of them have done well. None of them were critically acclaimed. I think it was Cherry and The Gray Man. Both were very poorly received by audiences and critics.
Yeah, I mean, it's true because I think it's
even
it's the Kevin
hardcore
Feige
Marvel
touch.
fans were like, these are not good movies. So that's what I think people are kind of losing. I think they're losing something when it regards, maybe it's faith, maybe it's trust, whatever you want to call it. I think they are losing faith in these guys, and I think I don't know. Marvel is just too focused on what they did, like for them in terms of Infinity War and Endgame, that they're not seeing like. They're putting too much, like they're putting all their money on black, like they're putting all their money on like one number, and it's not even a guarantee because Infinity War and Endgame, those, like, I might not agree, but they, in terms of pop culture, what they were at the time, what people liked, those were lightning in a bottle. And remember,
it's also, you had all those,
they were also pre-COVID. Pre-COVID is also a major factor. We don't know what a Russo brothers directed Marvel movie will be like post-COVID. So that is also a major factor, I think, as well. But we're kind of deviating from the quick part of the quick hits. So sorry that I had to go on a tangent, but I just had to.
Look, I think it will be interesting, certainly from a box office standpoint. The Russo brothers are very successful, so we'll see how far they can, go. Of course, all of this could change if the next 2 Avengers movies don't perform as well as they hope, right? Like, it's like Star Wars. We haven't got another Star Wars movie in like 6-7 years. Who knows when we'll get another one? Even if Mandalorian and Grogu movie comes out soon, that's still like a TV show turned into a movie. I'm not saying Marvel is gonna end up being that, but I'm just saying, like, if these guys don't hit with the 2 Avengers movies they're working on now, then yes, Marvel could easily pivot away from them. But at least right now, it looks like they'll stick around. And, power to them. Go get that moolah, get that bag, as they would say. Speaking of getting that bag, Paramount's board, the special committee that they formed as part of like the merger talks with Skydance, they have now said that they're bound by the merger pact with Skydance, which basically means that there will not be any engagement with rival bidders, meaning that this is now a closed deal pretty much. It doesn't mean that the merger is complete, but it just means that, there was a period of time that they had given themselves that somebody else,
pre-closing.
Like somebody else who could have come in and given them a better offer, and then Paramount would be like, yes, we choose you instead of Skydance. But now it looks like that period is closed. John, this is just another step in Skydance buying into Paramount. What do you think about this? Do you think that new company is going to be for the better or for the worse?
I said when we did this a long time ago, and I was so curious. I prefer, like, I don't like the idea of like so many people buying so many studios and all that. But with Skydance, they had the better option than, I think it was Sony was the other one, where they were going to break everything up. Paramount wasn't going to be a thing anymore, kind of like what they were going to
buy the studio and then sell off everything else.
And sell off everything. At least Skydance, like, they're like, okay, we're preserving, because Paramount is like one of the top 5 oldest film studios, I think. I think that's what we were talking about. So I'd like to, keep that history. And so I think like Skydance is preserving the Paramount name. I like that. So that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
I like that.
No, I agree. 100%. I think this is a positive. It just means we're going in a singular direction, because I remember that every week we were like, somebody else is coming up with an offer, and it looks like now they're closer to finishing this merger with Skydance. So good luck to Paramount. With that in mind, let's keep on rolling here. So we have some news on the next Dr. Seuss movie. John M. Chu, of course. Isn't John M. Chu the one who directed? Wait, what did he? Did he direct Wicked? Wicked. Yes, I was like, he directed Wicked. So the director of Wicked, and of course Jill Colton's next Dr. Seuss movie, Oh, the Places You'll Go, it's got a release date now. I believe the release date is March 17, 2028, and this is going to be coming to us from Warner Brothers, so it will have an IMAX release as well. John, care to give your opinion on this? This is coming from Warner Brothers Animation, the newly restructured Warner Brothers Animation after David Zaslav, completely, he wanted to kind of merge all the different studios together and be like, this is all one new studio. And this is one of the first things they're putting out since that restructuring.
I think Dr. Seuss movies are rarely done well, in my opinion. Like, the live action movies I don't like, the animated movies I have not liked. It could be good. I can't imagine that a movie of Oh, the Places You'll Go is gonna be that great. But John M. Chu, he got a lot of love with Wicked, and even though I didn't love it as much as everyone else did, I was surprised. I was surprised with how much I liked that. So maybe he can do something like this. But look at I just want to say this to Mr. Chu. If you're watching this, you probably aren't, but just look at the cover of see the cover. Oh, the Places You'll Go. Look at all the colors on that cover. Look at all the colors. See, those are what colors are. I know you missed that when you were making Wicked to make it natural and more realistic in a fantasy world. But next time, put some colors in your movie. I think that would be great. So just pay attention to the cover. Look how colorful it is, and just kind of do that for your next movie instead of trying to make a fantasy world with singing animals natural and realistic. Just saying. We'll see. This is advice.
Look, it's gonna be animated, right? So naturally, it needs to be more expressive than a live action movie can
just
be.
Remember colors this time, buddy.
Yes.
Get a colorist.
Yes. Apparently, this is being produced by J.J. Abrams. So.
This is the OA. Okay, never mind.
All right, moving on. Okay, so Jeremy Allen White is set to star in Netflix's bisexual romance drama, Enigma Variations. Thoughts on that?
That sounds like a Big Bang Theory episode.
It does actually.
Enigma Variation.
Yes.
I hate. Okay, I'm showing my my child side with. I did watch Big Bang Theory. I did. I'm not ashamed of it. But I'm just saying. Yeah. Good for him. Maybe he'll find someone on the set to to love and then cheat on them because he cheated on his wife. So good luck to you on season 4, buddy.
And on that note, we shall move on to the last story in Quick Hits. Yesterday was the 31st birthday of Joseph Quinn. Of course, he's been filming, or I don't know if he's actually been filming, because I'm not sure if his character's coming back in the final season of Stranger Things, which I believe, finished
filming. I don't think
filming.
he will because he's fucking dead.
There were rumors, but anyway, okay. All right. But he was in Gladiator 2, and I finally watched Gladiator 2 over the weekend, and I actually enjoyed his character. I thought he was definitely.
He was great. He should have been in it more.
Yes, he made the most of what he was given, and of course he's got the Fantastic Four coming out. He is the new Human Torch, so he's got quite the banner.
He was also in Quiet Place Day 1, which was great. He made me cry, the bastard. I love you, but I'm just letting you know.
As Enterprising says, happy belated birthday to Joseph Quinn. He's now 31 years old. So, a new decade, and, we hope that he's enjoying it. But with that in mind, of course, that's the end of Quick Hits.
5-Ash, first coffee farts, and now, sack shaving? What the fuck are you on? Are you on, drugs right now?
Sack shaving? Okay, you know what?
5-Ash, hey, don't shoot the messenger.
We're just gonna put a period on the Quick Hits in the news segment. So of course, if you are watching live, then hit that like button if you haven't already. But if you're watching us after the fact, then drop down in the comments and let us know what you thought about all those stories. And with that said, John, we're gonna move on to another episode of DCU Daily. So welcome on in to DCU Daily. As always, we have so much to talk about. There's Superman, of course, the big TV spot, not really a trailer, but a TV spot. It's 30 seconds long. It dropped over the weekend, for NFL's Championship Sunday. And we have that. We have so much more. We have lanterns. We have other news items to talk about. So to do that and so much more, of course, John, what was your biggest piece of news from DCU from over the weekend? What are you most excited to talk about today?
To clap back at the haters for Superman, because that's what we love to do here. Also, hi Hugo Millie. Also, 5 Ash, don't admit that you're doing actual drugs. What the? I did shower today, and I did put beard oil and beard balm in my beard. Very nice. All right, now I'm bored. Can you throw it back this time? Whoa. Let's try to keep it PG, goddamn.
All right, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into the world of DC, shall we? So
Liz is not here with us today, by the way,
yes.
Hugo Millie. I'm sorry about
Liz
that.
will be here tomorrow. Liz was busy with her day job today, so she's gonna rest, and she'll be back on the show tomorrow. So do tune in because we'll be getting into some insane movie reviews. I think
Women
we
of
saw
tomorrow.
Flight Risk. Caleb, by the way, saying I think I've talked myself into liking the Mountain Dance for the Paramount Skydance merger, new company name. Mountain Dance? No, I think they're gonna need to this is one of those situations where you just keep the Paramount name. Because clearly Paramount is way more iconic. Like Skydance, great. You can maybe even have it as a subdivision, but it's gotta be Paramount. Keep it Paramount. It's one of the oldest studios in Hollywood. Come on now. Anyway, speaking of DC, David Krumholtz just was talking about how he's so proud and excited for being cast as Zor-El in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is currently filming. And of course, we got the news last week that he was joining the movie. So he said this: joining the DC universe is a mind-blowing privilege. Representing the symbol of hope in Supergirl as Zor-El is a personal triumph. My gratitude overflowing now. What are your thoughts on that?
I think, I think we talked about this. I really like that. We were talking about how he really wanted to be the Thing in Fantastic Four. Speaking of, because as a Jewish guy and the Thing being a Jewish character, because Jack Kirby put a lot of himself in that character, and Jack Kirby was Jewish, and he's like, I wanted to celebrate that part of the character. But I think, even though he didn't get that, I think it's cool that he's going to be part of the DC side now, and part of a character who was initially created by 2 Jewish guys in Cleveland. So I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like a nice full circle thing. Like he kind of is getting into the thing he wanted to do, and I think he'll do a very good job. Like I think like they'll have like give him like a nice like clean shaven kind of look, and I think he'll do a great job. I think it's nice that he's like part of that like, I want to be part of like the symbol of hope kind of thing. And, I think that's really nice. So,
Yeah.
I've always liked him as an actor, like again, being in an Oscar winning movie 2 years ago now, certainly helps. And, he's Bernard. He's always going to be Bernard to our generation. No matter what he does. And he was also great in that show, Numbers,
Yes.
with,
Underrated. I didn't follow all
Judd
of it.
Hirsch.
Yes, you're right. Yes, exactly.
And a lot of other guys, but yeah, I remember him in that show. Great show. I watched a lot of that in math class, actually. My algebra teacher showed us a lot of episodes of Numbers. And but yeah, he was great in that show too. I like him as an actor. I'm not gonna act like, oh my god, he's my favorite actor, but like from what I have seen of him, he always does a good job. Like he's not like the most like known actor or even known character actor, but I like what he's done.
He's a good fit for the role, right? Like and hopefully he'll get to make more than just one appearance in Supergirl, and maybe he'll he'll come back into, maybe a future movie sequel, or even if it is just in flashbacks, right? Like whenever they cast these. Emily Beecham also playing Supergirl's mom. She's fantastic as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing the whole family in the movie. Of course, Jalen Harris saying actors actually being excited to be a part of the movie. I've been waiting for these times. Yes, I mean, it is one of those situations where it's like, actor talks about a show that they're a part of or a movie they're a part of. Of course, you want to take it with a grain of salt that, does that really speak to the quality of the project? But in this case, it's, he's excited to be a part of the movie. And I'm excited that, of course, we're not just going to get Supergirl, we're going to get the whole, Zor-El family. And that really just tickles, me the right way, as it were. So I'm excited.
I don't have friends. I got family. Your brother never told you never threaten a man's family?
Sorry, I just had to play the second positive clip we had.
Yep. And on that note, of course, Sinestro, the casting for Sinestro, that was the big news on Friday. So I just wanted to kind of go back to it a little bit because
official from where? From Gunn himself?
I don't know. I mean, it seems like this is straight out of the comics though. So let's just talk about it real quick. Because I think the casting is great. Ulrich Thompson, great actor. Again, underrated. You're not going to see his name at the top of the marquee, but he's somebody who does his job, does it well. And he's going to be playing probably the most iconic villain for the Green Lanterns in Sinestro. We had Mark Strong play Sinestro in the 2011 movie with Ryan Reynolds. Of course, the story there is a little bit different in terms of who's the mentor, who's the mentee sort of a situation. But here, the description says, ruthless yet undeniably charming, Sinestro is a former Green Lantern who turned rogue. Sinestro's manipulative nature drives his enduring obsession with his former mentee, Hal Jordan. What are your thoughts on this? This to me just seems like it's right out of the comics.
That's just like that it feels like somebody went to the Wikipedia page and just kind of copy pasted who the character is, because that's kind of
pretty
it.
Much.
But it seems like they're getting that character. Whether he's going to be written well is up to my favorite writer, Tom King, but we will see about that. So, I did read the leaked episode.
We are not getting into that.
The alleged leaked episode.
We might do that as like an exclusive, so that it's not like if you guys want to avoid it, you can avoid it.
That's I haven't read the other two episodes that were leaked, but I'm curious. It's not the worst thing ever from what I've read, but it's not great. But we'll see.
It's
obviously,
also potentially not true, so we'll just have to see
that too.
Yeah, that's it's always got to take that with a grain of salt. Like anytime you get leaks, it's not really, half the time it's not true, and you can't really trust it unless you can verify it. Which there's no way to verify it until the movie or TV show comes out. So we'll just have to see. Now, speaking of seeing, did you went and saw Nosferatu recently, right, John? So Robert Eggers, of course, he's now working on a werewolf movie. He's working on another movie that he announced like not long before that. So he's a busy man, but apparently, while he has hinted in the past that he would never make a Marvel movie, he did say that he loves DC's The Batman movie. Of course, Matt Reeves' The Batman, and he learned a lot from it. So
you know what? You know what I can see? I just got an idea for this. Like literally, like the fucking light bulb went on. I'm sorry to cut you off, but think about this. In 2026, I believe 2027, maybe 2028, the original Batman from Detective Comics number 27 is going to be in the public domain. And that means that anybody can direct it without DC's okay. Imagine a 1930s detective movie with Batman directed by Robert Eggers without any interference from Warner Brothers. Let him cook.
You know what?
Let him cook.
Armie Hammer should have waited, and Uwe Boll should have waited a few years to do their Dark Knight movie.
Let's not talk about that. But just saying that could be amazing.
It could be.
I'm just, Robert Eggers, if you're watching, we have a great idea for you.
Maybe maybe he's already thinking about it. Maybe he wants to do that. Maybe he wants. Dude, there's already comics and like Elseworld stories where you can literally check all the boxes for what Robert Eggers would want.
Movie
exactly.
Directed by Robert Eggers, featuring
yes.
fuck it Robert Pattinson again. I don't give a fuck. As Batman in that kind of movie would be amazing. But then he has to work under Warner Brothers, and I don't think he would want to. But like him like dealing with a public domain Batman, because he said in a recent interview that he has been like, he's like, photographing a car makes me ill, photographing a phone brings me death, being very very artistic with his wording, but he said he wouldn't go past well, yeah, like they can't use the logos, but you can like make one. Right. It's like fine, whatever. You could just use generic text.
Yeah, you can't use like the one from 1989. Like that's obviously that is not in the public domain. Stuff like that is a long time coming out.
No, I think it's specifically specifically the earlier. I would have to look it up again, but you might be right on like another version. But I think whatever. But
like the original version from the 30s, I believe, comes into public domain. So,
but yeah, I think I think that would be really awesome. Him doing that. Stewart's
yeah, we don't know so far based on the casting.
We don't know
alone,
anything.
that's what they're doing.
Obviously we'll see if like Carol Ferris is there. I don't know, or not Carol Ferris. Sorry, I was thinking of Hal Jordan. I forget what Jon Stewart's love interest is, but anyway, but yeah, I'm just saying like that would be a fucking amazing fucking movie. I'm just saying.
Hugo Millie's got a great idea. I think this is she might have nailed it on the head. A dead bat taped to the chest.
Someone like Eggers would have a dead bat taped to the chest. Honestly, I'd fucking watch that. Or he just goes full Ozzy Osbourne and just rips a bat off of his head. But yeah, like I straight up had like I fan casted a Gotham by Gaslight movie, and I had Robert Eggers direct it and Robert Pattinson starring. But yeah, he said like he wouldn't go past 1950. But I like, so with it, like he's like, but even that's being kind. We'll answer that in a second. So I can imagine he probably wouldn't really go past like World War II. Like if I were to think of anything like World War II, and by the way, a fucking war movie directed by Robert Eggers would be fucking amazing. I would love to see him. Like imagine a Robert Eggers directed No Man's Land in World War I. That would be fucking amazing, by the way. But yeah, pop his question up again. I kind of skimmed it. So what was he saying? I started Creature Commandos on Max, and I like it so far. But if Gunn wanted to start off with a classic team, why didn't he do a Justice Society show? Because that might be too much preconceived stuff in regards to that. Because Justice Society, it's not as well known as something like Justice League or something like that. I think he wanted, because he did state that Superman is going to be the entree of the start of the DCU. This is like going to be like an appetizer for hardcore fans. And I don't think Justice Society should be an appetizer. That should be a main course movie, because I think they deserve more respect than that. Than like Creature Commandos is something you can like throw in and be like, okay, here's the start of something, but like you don't have to watch it. Like it's animated, it's weird, it's it's on Max, it's on a streaming service. So I think that's like Creature Commandos is like, I don't want to say playing, but like you can do experimental stuff with Creature Commandos, and like if it doesn't work, then fine, it doesn't work. But then if it does, then you can like do a season 2 like they're doing, but that will open the door for stuff later on. So I think doing Creature Commandos was a good idea. Something like Checkmate or Argus.
It's like a nice soft launch to the universe,
and it's something that people kind of know, because they use the Suicide Squad as kind of a foundation of like, it's kind of what that's like, not totally, but it's kind of what it's like. And so I think that helps matters too.
Yeah.
Robert Eggers directed Hellboy movie.
Yep. I mean, look, I think ultimately he's not saying anything here in his quote on the right side that says, oh, I want to direct the Batman movie. But yes, exactly. But if you wanted to give him a movie to do, he's gonna want to have as much control over it as possible. He would want to do something original with it. So yeah, I mean, as long as if it is a Batman thing that he wants to do, then it would have to be probably Elseworlds, and he would just need to do his own thing, completely separate. And the fact that he has an admiration for what Matt Reeves did with the Batman, certainly it speaks to his sensibilities. And maybe of all the different characters in the mainstream superhero sphere, the Batman is probably the closest to what you'd imagine would fit into Robert Eggers, toolbox or his, not his toolbox, his sandbox, like where he operates as a filmmaker. The Batman probably is the closest fit, like Dracula and stuff like that. Like that's basically in the superhero world, you're talking about Batman. So I agree with you there. I think he'd be a good fit if he decides to do it eventually. But until then, we have to, settle for any Muschietti. But James Gunn, of course, there's a rumor. This is a rumor, guys, by the way. We're switching over to Superman now. James Gunn Superman, according to this rumor, take it with a grain of salt, the movie is going to feature a news headline, this new Superman movie, where it's going to be talking about how the Man of Steel was injured with a kryptonite bullet. So does that mean that Idris Elba's, Bloodsport is now canon to the new DCU?
Stop. Just stop. Just fucking stop. Just like shut up. Like I know it's just a rumor, but like you're just complicated. You're just making this shit more complicated than it needs to be. It's gonna fuck with the canon and all that shit. It's just like, okay. Well, the thing is, he wouldn't even need Gunn's permission if it is public domain, if it is 2036. Okay, I was wrong. If it was 2036, then I could wait 10 years for 11 years for a Robert Eggers directed public domain Batman movie that can only take place in the 1930s. So, love to see it.
I mean, it's just, again, this is a rumor. This is not coming from James Gunn directly. So if you do see a headline and it's like a throwaway little shot and then it, makes Bloodsport canon, I don't mind. I mean, I'm like, fine, whatever. Like, as long as it's not all of a sudden, doesn't mean we're going to get I mean, maybe we do get a Bloodsport TV show. Maybe he does come back for an appearance somewhere else. I thought that Idris Elba did a good job with Bloodsport.
So
I wouldn't mind it being
just
canon.
wanted to confirm this. Superman is 2034, Batman is 2035, and then the Joker and Captain America are 2036, and Wonder Woman's 2037. So if you want to do a Trinity movie, you gotta wait till 2037.
Yeah. We'll have the the unofficial Trinity movie. Ron has an interesting theory about Supergirl. Feel free
Lay
to
it
share,
on us,
Ron.
my guy.
Lay it on us, as John just said. But yeah, Elite Easy in the chat now suggesting a Batman versus Dracula movie, 1939 black and white Batman like Bruce Timm's Strange Days, 75th short. That could be interesting. Could be interesting. I mean, why not just make it official? I mean, if Robert Eggers wants to do something Batman related, James Gunn will make it happen. I think he's too good of a movie maker, or too good of a storyteller for James Gunn to be like, no, do your unofficial thing. Warner Brothers would pay good money to get Robert Eggers to do an Elseworld story. Ultraman's being... No, okay, so just some geeky guy asking, what are your thoughts on the rumor that Ultraman in the Superman film is actually Bizarro? I think it could work.
Yeah, we've heard a lot of different rumors about a lot of different things in regards to that character. Yeah. I mean, I prefer Bizarro than just... I mean, that would make sense, though, right? It would be Bizarro, just he's called Ultraman. I could see that happening. Like, I feel like that's the thing that's gonna happen. But obviously, we will have to wait and see. I could also see, like... I know the Ulysses rumor kind of died, but I could also see that. I guess a lot more people saw it than 12 people, my guy. But yeah, I would imagine that the Bizarro thing would probably be correct, but obviously we'll see. But yeah, I think that would probably work the best in terms of what that character is.
Yeah, I mean, we'll find out soon enough if it is indeed Ultraman or if it is Bizarro. So far the trailer suggests it could be either, because the power set would be similar, of course, the mask does come off at some point at least, because in the behind the scenes photos and videos that we saw over last summer, at one point the actor took the mask off, but then again, we weren't really sure if it was just a stuntman. So like, who knows? We'll just have to wait till the movie comes out to find out what that is going to look like. In the meantime, of course, David Kirkman, if you're familiar with his movies, he's like an indie filmmaker essentially, but he wants to do a whole Static Shock trilogy, John, and he's even put out this little clip of kind of what might be his idea of a Static Shock movie in live action, perhaps with a bigger budget. He's even offered to self-finance this. I mean, does this interest you at all? Would you want to see Static Shock join the DCU, or you think that that's one character we can wait for a little while longer?
I mean, okay, he's definitely not DC Spider-Man. I don't agree with that, but that's just me. I'm mixed because like clearly he's a guy with a vision and he's done a lot of good short films and fan films of some of the milestone comic characters. However, what I don't want to happen, like what Marvel is doing, is just getting a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience, plucking him out and then just throwing him into this. Now, this is a bit different than what Marvel is doing, where they take an indie director with a promising future,
Right,
and just give him a gigantic budget to make a fucking Spider-Man movie, a Shang-Chi movie, a fucking Thor movie, and just like do whatever the fuck they want. It's just not even do it like forcing like Kevin Feige's vision on them where they have no real creative control and then they have to do what the boss says. I don't want DC to be like that. And it doesn't seem like James Gunn is doing that. That could be an interesting thing, by the way. Because I just don't like that. Like they bring in like TV directors or indie directors with not a ton of vision and just sort of like, well, I'm working at Marvel now. I'm doing this because um ouch. I don't think they'll do something that political, but I think just thinking about that. But I just don't want, and the thing is, obviously it's very different. This is a guy that doesn't have, yeah, he has a filmmaking experience, but filmmaking experience and filmmaking industry experience are two very different things. Look at the pantheon of people that DC has employed right now in terms of the future. You have someone like James Mangold, who's given us a lot of great movies, currently nominated for an Academy Award. With him and his own film. Nightwing, The Flash, Blue Beetle, those I think are all more Spider-Man related. Doesn't want films made. Okay, yeah, I know it's
right. It looks like the
but
state
anyway,
of the like like the family of the creator of the character. I mean, but honestly, like it's not like the family of the of the creator owns the IP, right? So I wouldn't imagine that would be
it's a
definitive
tough business
factor.
in regards to that. But
Yeah.
I think like look, like you have Swamp Thing, you have James Mangold currently. Now I'm Craig Gillespie, who's done like some really good movies. He's been nominated as well. You have Brave and the Bold, yes, varying degrees of quality, but Andy Muschietti did direct it, and that was a big blockbuster thing, and a lot of people loved that movie. Not necessarily the second one. I did, but not a lot of other people did. And James Gunn has directed tons of superhero films. And then for Lanterns, yeah, I might not like some of the people involved, but Chris Mundy directed, an Emmy and Golden Globe nominated. I don't know if it ever won show with Ozark. And then Tom King has written a lot of DC things that some people have praised. And then David Lindelof was on a award nominated. I'm pretty sure Lost got nominated for shit, but he's worked on a lot of stuff as well. So they're getting a lot of people with prestige behind. And I'm not just talking about awards. I'm just talking about they have a lot of industry experience. And I think this guy, David Kirkman, I'm sure he's passionate. I'm sure he wants to do things right. I'm sure like he's got a lot of like promising things and wants to do this, wants to do that. But I feel like he needs to have some industry experience first, like build him up a little bit, and then give him a major film. Because I feel like going into it too quickly, you're going to be getting not his vision, but maybe DC's vision. Um, he was never involved with the Brave and the Bold film. He was involved in a New Gods movie that was going to
I
be
mean, I
directed by
think he's
but
part of the DC think tank, but I don't know how involved he is with Brave.
I don't think he's doing Brave and the Bold. He's doing specifically just Lanterns right now. I mean, they're already doing The Authority with Wildstorm, so clearly he wants to like branch out into other like DC owned things like Milestone and Wildstorm, and we'll see.
Yeah.
But he's clearly getting a lot of guys with industry experience, not like and not like even the best. Like, sure, he's getting some like Oscar nominated guys.
Yeah.
Which is great, but I'm just talking about industry experience, and that's the thing that I'm more so focused on with this Kirkman guy. I don't know who he is. I haven't seen any of his work. So yeah, that's the only thing I'm like thinking about is like get guys with industry experience. Don't get like fucking John Watts who directed 2 fucking indie movies. Oh, give him a Spider-Man fucking movie. Like look like it's got for the directors, it's gotten worse. Like Sam Raimi had tons of industry experience, had some comic book, was a huge comic book fan, and he got Spider-Man. Mark Webb had a couple things here and there, but again, that was kind of like, let's hire a guy to do our dirty work and not really a ton of creative vision. As much as I like the Amazing Spider-Man movies, well, mainly parts of the second, and I like the first one, but not Milestone. Yes, I know it's like split between Dwayne McDuffie and them, but yeah, I'm just thinking about don't do what Marvel's doing. Don't do what they're doing. Keep the indie guys indie and get the industry experience guys with that.
Yep. Well, I mean, speaking of industry experience, and you mentioned Lanterns earlier, Poorna Jagannathan, who's been cast as one of the I guess you could call him an ensemble cast, one of the members of the ensemble cast for Lanterns. I mean, don't really know if she's playing a character that's an original character. She's not really playing somebody that we know from the comics per se, but she's gonna be a significant part of this show. And she just mentioned that, hey, you know what? Those Lantern scripts, it might be the best sci-fi, that she's ever read. And of course, one of the other things she mentioned is that test filming officially begins this week. So I want to kind of get into a little bit more of what she said before I get your reaction. I mean, just the summary of it basically is that the camera testing starts on Tuesday. Fair, I think they're about to get going, so they're testing out costumes and stuff. It is, of course, a sci-fi show, which we all knew that, so that's like Captain Obvious.
Yeah.
But what she said was it's the best writing that I've ever read, the best sci-fi. But when you get into a little bit more context, she did say that, hey, she doesn't actually know anything about sci-fi, so I don't so to me that if you color the quote with that for context, it starts to you wonder like, okay, so if she doesn't really know sci-fi as a genre really well, then how much stock should I put into her statement that this is the best writing that I've ever read? But she did also say this is the first script that I've ever read that I understand why there's an NDA. As in, she's saying there's some spoilers here that I really should not be giving up. And then she went on to say, because she was asked about the show. I think this was an interview that she was doing, where she said, I don't know anything about sci-fi, and I don't care actually, but this script makes sci-fi seem like my world. And then she continued on to say, it's so accessible to me. I understand everything about this world, even though I don't understand this world. So it's the best script I've ever read. And then as for when the production gets underway, of course, she then revealed that we start Tuesday. We start camera testing on Tuesday, John. What are your thoughts on this? Again, what Poorna said about the show. She's not really a big fan of the DC universe. It doesn't seem like she's not very familiar with it.
Yeah, that's great. Who was the guy that said, oh, hey, getting Krumholtz, let James Gunn cook, getting Krumholtz, who's excited to be part of the DC universe. I think it was great.
Jalen. Well, he was like, yeah.
We have now the 180 flip side of that. Why the fuck are you getting actors in your sci-fi show that don't fucking care about sci-fi? Now, I did compare this to when Alan Rickman got the script for Galaxy Quest. He also doesn't like sci-fi, but he found the script so funny that he had to do it. Difference is, that's Alan Rickman. who the fuck is this bitch? Like, I don't fucking know who she is. She's been in like some shit I don't know. Cool, great. You don't have that prowess that he has, so I don't know who the fuck you're talking to. So there's that. So if someone who doesn't like sci-fi likes this, then yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it that makes me a little worried that it's like someone who doesn't like sci-fi is into this. So it's like, okay, someone who doesn't like sci-fi is into this. Then what are we saying for the people that do like sci-fi? Is it just going to be not anything what they like? That it's just going to be you're making it for a demographic that's not your main demographic. So it's like, well, yeah, but it's like at the same time,
it's a fair point, TC24. It's look, you can be a great actor, not really know the IP that you're taking part in very well, and still do a great job. It does help you though to, I guess, reach more of the potential of your character that you're acting as.
but it's
if you
like
know what the character's, history is, or maybe like more of what the story world.
now,
that you're
obviously
being a part
everybody
of,
doesn't have to be
how
like a
that
super
works.
nerd, but the thing is, I don't
Yeah.
want like another Marlon Brando situation again, where it's like, yeah, I just took this for the paycheck. Like, I don't want that shit to happen again. I don't.
Right.
That's what Jennifer Lawrence became after she got famous and was still obligated to do X-Men movies, where she like slept through her fucking performance every goddamn time after Days of Future Past. So it's like, even Days of Future Past, I don't think she did that great of a job. So, it's again, it's his grain of salt. It could be bullshit. It's just like, I just like, why can't you just have people that respect the material? Like it's like you have like fucking Aaron Pierre, who's like, I'm gonna give this fucking character so much fucking respect. Yeah, My Adventures with Superman, I saw fucking 5 minutes of that and I wanted to throw up. So like, yeah, not a great comparison. But you have like someone like Aaron Pierre, he's like, I'm gonna give this so much fucking, like, I'm gonna give this 150%, and this is gonna, like, I love this character so much. I'm gonna give Jon Stewart so much fucking respect. Krumholtz, I'm so excited to be part of this symbol of hope. All this other shit, and then you have this bitch who's like, I don't like sci-fi, but like, I guess I'll fucking do it. Like, all right, I have no faith in your performance now if you don't give that much of a fuck. So it's like, I know you're saying, oh, it's the best script you'll ever read, but like, I don't know, like, I just don't feel like now I have less faith in this show, like a little bit, just a little bit. Like, it's just like, stop talking.
Look, like I said, you do not have to be a super fan of what you're a part of as a project to do a good job. And look, yes, so far, I mean, Kyle Chandler has spoken well about it. It was more of like, level-headed answer. Of course, like you said, Aaron Pierre has gushed about like all the work he's doing to prepare for the role, and we've seen something similar from David Krumholtz for Supergirl. But you're not gonna get that from everyone. And you know what? I'd rather that she be honest about her assessment that this is not her usual cup of tea. But clearly, she wanted and did the work and put in the effort to get cast for the role, even if it was another job. Hopefully, once she gets on set, her knowledge of the universe will grow, and that will become, a part of her appreciation for what DC has to offer. So, we'll see. I mean, again, this is to me, it's like at least she's being honest. Like that's I take it as that. But you know what? Just some geeky guy was asking, and so you guys have asked us this before. But it's worth touching upon. Do you guys think the budget for Lanterns will be huge? I think the show is meant to have like a 6 to 8 episode run. So if on a per episode basis, there's somewhere between 8 episodes. If they're spending somewhere between 20 to 30 million an episode, I think that's like Game of Thrones level. So that's plenty of money. That gets close to some of the Marvel shows as well on Disney+.
I don't think it's gonna be that much, especially if it starts grounded earlier on. I think it's going to be more like an all-encompassing, that they're going to be given, okay, so let's say you said 20 to 30, then that's, how long was the last like Game of Thrones season? How many episodes was that?
I
Like 10 episodes?
Wasn't it like less than that? Wasn't it like 8 episodes?
Whatever it is, it's just like, I think they're gonna just have like a blanket budget, so like they're not gonna be spending a lot on like
6. There were 6 episodes in the final Game of Thrones season.
So I would say I think there's going to be a blanket like a movie. Like they're going to give it this amount of budget because then on the earlier stuff where it's just like a murder mystery, then they don't have to spend as much. But then when it gets into like big shit later on with like cosmic shit and like using the lantern ring more and all that, then they can spend more. So I'm willing to bet maybe 200 million for the entire thing. Maybe 100 million. 100 to a 200 million. I don't know how much the Peacemaker budget was, but you know, I'd like to think that's what it is because I feel like they want to give like the proper amount of budget, especially for something like Green Lantern, the big stuff. So, so yeah, I think that's what they deserve. I think that's what they might do. So again, that's just like rumor mill, and we don't know, and that's just my assessment of what I think they're gonna do.
Yeah, no, I agree with you completely. Now, with that in mind, we do have a theory from Ron about Supergirl. Remember, we got a new look at Supergirl the other day from James Gunn, of course. A first look, but not really, too much information in there. But still, it was an image that kind of gave us a first look at, Kara Zor-El, or at least Millie Alcock, on set for Supergirl. It's filming now, and Warner Brothers Leavesden Studios in London. So Ron has a theory from I think the image itself, which was I think like one of those on-set chairs that had a version of the Superman logo or the Kryptonian House of L logo on there. I'm gonna see if I can pull this up from James Gunn's account. But while I do that, of course we have a theory here from Ron. He says the logo that was revealed of Supergirl won't have the dark colors, but she will instead wear bright colors. The dark colors revealed are to show more of Kara's state of mind.
I think that kind of like what the original logo was when revealed for Superman. Obviously he's not going to have a lens flare on his logo, and it's not going to like have like that. It's not going to be that angular. It's like softer looking. So there's that. So I think you're right. It's going to have more of that state of mind, and because it's like she's a darker character. It's like someone said, oh, it's like kind of like a punk rock feel. I'm like, okay, that's the vibe I want. I feel like the characters involved, like Lobo is kind of like that punk rock metal kind of character. So yeah, I think that makes sense. It would be really cool if she even has a brighter uniform. It'd be really cool. Like they do a Die Hard thing where it's like really bright in the beginning. Like she has like sky blue and scarlet, even brighter than Superman's. But then by the end of it, it's just get covered, like caked with like dirt and blood if they go that far. And like just like stained and all fucked up, showcasing like the adventure she's been through and showcasing the real side to this character, which is much darker than Superman. I think that could be a really cool thing.
Yeah. No, it's that logo. I do not put much stock into it because it's literally from a chair that's on set. Like, it's not going to necessarily represent what we get in the actual movie. It's just what we see on the chair on set. Like that's a prop at best, and it's probably just for her to sit while they're setting up the next camera shot,
Director's
or
chair.
the director's chair, or this might even not be potentially the set itself. It could be like the hair and makeup area. Although it looks like it's a bar, maybe a cosmic bar as it were, but we shall see. The logo will, as we can tell, be the same design as the Superman logo, which makes sense. They're both from Krypton, but the colors, I'd imagine, would be at least similar to Superman's colors, considering the Fortress of Solitude we're getting, and he's wearing the suit while he's there. So it looks like the suit that he has is a Kryptonian suit. So you'd imagine that Supergirl's suit would be similar, it's a similar color theme, but we shall see. We'll see. If it turns out to be completely different, if it's darker or brighter, we'll see. But as of right now, we can just speculate. We don't have much to go off of. So here we go. But good theory, Ron. I think that's a good theory to start with. Now, with that said, John, we have to move on to the main story of the day. Of course, if you guys have stuck around with us all this time, thank you so much, because it took us a while to get here. But here we are. A new Superman TV spot dropped over the weekend. Of course, in the US, it was NFL's Championship Sunday, which is when the two different conferences or the leagues in the National Football League play their championship games. The NFC and the AFC both had their title games, and then of course it draws a big audience on television. So as part of that, what they did was they decided, we're gonna put out a new 30-second ad. It was titled Icon, and as part of that ad, what we got
not the hero icon.
Not the hero icon, right? But as part of that ad,
we're just talking about milestones, so I thought that was
we got a few new looks at the movie Superman, including a couple of shots that we haven't seen before. So, of course, with that in mind, we gotta dive into it. We gotta get into all the little, details. Of course, we're gonna overanalyze it probably. There's some theories out there. You guys have your thoughts. I pulled in all your comments from earlier in the show, so we're gonna dive into that as well. If you have any more thoughts, or if you're joining the show later, feel free to, get into the live chat. Or if you're not watching us live, then let us know what you thought about the Icon TV spot that they released for the Superman movie in the comments down below. But John, let's start off with the trailer itself. Of course, James Gunn dropped it online. That was, where it all began. He says, look, it begins July 11th, Superman, #Superman. And of course, we're getting a lot of the shots that we have seen before. But in addition to that, you're getting this new shot here that, we haven't seen before. So what did you think about it overall? Of course, like I said, some new, some old, some familiar, some shots that we haven't seen in previous trailers. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was
I thought it
your assessment of
was,
the new
I thought it was great. I think people need to calm the fuck down about, the fucking, him flying. Because like shut the fuck up. It's like fucking 1 second of shit. Like somebody was saying, people are losing their minds over 1.3 seconds of footage, and it's like really like people had like so much faith in it's like if a flying scene really is like I'm not gonna see this movie now, then you were never gonna see this fucking movie to begin with. It's just like I just people need to shut the fuck up. I think it was a good thing. It was, stuff we've seen before. It had that slower music I liked. We got to see more of Lex Luthor, what we kind of saw in the theatrical version of the trailer, like with Mr. Terrific and that Lex Luthor thing. So we saw more of him, and I'm sure Liz is gonna get her fucking panties wet over Nicholas Hoult Lex Luthor now. So there's that, like, she just went on and on about that. But I love his glasses. I like how it's like they look like they kind of look like Max in The Thing, where he wears those special glasses so he can like see in like a blizzard and in the cold, and yeah. So it looks very cool, like kind of like that. They also kind of look like Google Glass, like where it's like fancy glasses where he can like has like his phone or whatever and just like control things. And then it's clear that he's definitely going to be in like the Fortress of Solitude, so that's definitely really cool. Because I'm willing to bet like here, like the broken robot Lex Luthor like trashed the Fortress of Solitude, and there he is taking him home. So I think we're gonna be getting a big thing from Lex Luthor with the Fortress. I think that's gonna be definitely a really cool action sequence. I think that's where Superman is going, like the fucking shot that everyone fucking complained over. With him flying, I think he's flying to the fortress because he realizes something is wrong and he's going there because Lex Luthor is like maybe trashing it. So I think that's definitely a really cool thing to action set piece that we'll look forward to. So yeah, that's awesome. I thought this was a good TV spot. I thought, we're getting, yeah, like, I mean, yeah, maybe it looks a little wonky, but like, I thought Hawkgirl looked a little wonky in the first trailer. But like that was like the one shot out of that entire trailer that looked kind of wonky. But even then, they still have another 5 to 6 months of CGI post production work. So, yeah, Jalen, I agree with that.
Yeah. I mean, it's also like when I look at it, this movie isn't done yet. Like you said, they've got a lot more work to do. So it's okay if it doesn't look perfect, right? Like you look at this, yes, one of his eyes looks like is not quite looking in the same direction as the other one, but that might, I mean, I don't know, like maybe there's something going on.
I mean, he confirmed, I mean, James Gunn confirmed today that it's not CGI.
It's not CGI.
Is all David Corn sweat,
Right.
Yeah, it might look a little weird, but the thing is, if they're creating the effect of him flying, they're probably blowing a fan in his face. Like they're probably got a leaf blower in his face, and he's probably like kind of flinching because it's like this is a character that's like going like supersonic speeds. Yeah, that's great. I mean, we finally get a Jewish American as fucking Superman. Took us goddamn 80 years, but we fucking got there, guys. We got there. Praise be. Anyway, shalom.
And like you said, James Gunn did mention that there is absolutely zero CG in his face. People's faces
yeah,
can
it's
look
nothing too
different when you put
crazy,
a
but people are making
wide-angle
a
lens
mountain
up
out of a
close.
molehill.
Yeah.
It was a cute little thing. It's like we've seen most of the footage. We saw some more. That was great. And yeah. So I'm not like any more excited as I am as I was before, but like I'm still excited, and I think this was a good trailer. Like nothing to really complain about, but of course, people got to get bent out of shape for it. They gotta fucking go fucking frame by frame to see, oh, look how terrible this is, and like all that shit. So that how it be. But I liked it. Good trailer. And
yeah.
if we get a dance scene of him in a morph suit in this movie, I'm just gonna walk at the goddamn theater. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked it, but it was funny. But it was like, but if it is Nicholas Hoult actually dancing, Liz will be very happy. We will say that, because I don't know why she's getting like so mad about Ryan Reynolds not doing the Logan dancing bit. Like she gets so mad over it.
Still, yeah. Yep. Oh, and Ron, we will talk about that this week. The David Cornsweet and Isaac Gonzalez for Boss, or was it? Yeah, it was Boss. Yes, we're gonna get into that. Too much to do today already. But Mark Hadna saying Lex gonna challenge Superman to a dance off. Woo! Yes, that would be funny. Dance off, bro. And like that's how we end the movie. Yeah, that would be. That's a little too close to the West there. But hey, look, you know what? Did we get a look? As Fiona's got a question, did we get a closer look at the bulge? No, not that I remember, unless I missed something. But it was all from the chest up for the most part, or from.
I know, to the chagrin of Dan. I know. Yeah. I'm sorry, buddy.
There's the shot right there. Now I'll zoom into this.
Okay, we don't need to see
right there
bulge, but
I'm just like, I don't know. Do we need that? Like, because it's sort of like, what function does it serve other than to highlight the fact that Superman's got some padding there potentially to make this?
I mean,
movie a little...
I hate to break it to you, but every man on planet Earth has a dick and balls. Like, I don't know how you're supposed to hide that. Like, obviously, like in camera, they're gonna probably do some like cropping out. They're gonna like smooth it down a little bit so we don't see David Cornsweet's schwanz in our fucking faces all the time. But I'm sorry, it's just like, it's like a woman who has really big breasts, and it's like, she's like, I can't put them anywhere. What do you want me to do? So it's like, it makes sense. Like, if it's like he has a big package, like, I don't know what to really say about that.
Yeah.
Greatest
that
moment.
Was from last. That was from last summer.
Finest hour.
Yeah. It was a good time. It was a good time to be a DC fan. We were getting new photos from all the stuff that was going on, like all the filming in Cincinnati. It was great. Jose saying, of course, the eye positions are my only critique. Can be fixed. People freaking out over literally 1.3 seconds just shows how stupid the internet can be.
That's what I was talking about. Yeah,
exactly. Figure drawing saying the gimbaled Superman's face, horrid choice for being in a trailer. The outrage is understandable. Also, how about don't feature Cornsweet's different location eyes? I mean, look, again, in the movie it might be like, blink it and it's gone. Like, this shot might not even be in the movie for all we know, right? So. We'll just have to see. We'll just have to see if this shot like shows up in the movie and it looking exactly like we saw in the trailer. I'm okay with it. I think we're paying more attention to it because we are able to pause on it and rewind and play it back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Smochi. You should take a look at the beach photos that he's got. But anyway, good comment for figure drawing. Jalen Harris earlier talked about this, saying, so are we talking about the Superman discourse again for what feels like the 50th time this year alone?
Bro, look at the title of the fucking show, like right there. Like, hello, DCU Daily. If you don't like DCU, then I'm sorry.
Well, clearly Jalen does. And so thanks for being here today. Like Mark Hadna just said, exactly. You never know. This shot may not even be in the film. So exactly, and I agree with you completely. We're on the same page, Mark Hadna. You and I. But let's keep on going. There's a few other things I want to get into. Of course, the big. Thank you, John. The big comparison here that I pulled this image up for is you can see between the image at the bottom where things look okay, I suppose. Or is it the things that the image at the top, it looks like he's looking in the same direction, and the bottom it looks a little weird. But again, I feel like that's the effect of like the wide angle lens that they're using. Which I'll be honest with you, I think that the way they shot the Man of Steel scenes looked better than this at first glance, but it's not a fair comparison because we've got a whole
It's not fair
movie
because James
to
Gunn is
compare to
clearly.
1
Here's the
second
thing.
of footage.
I'd
So,
rather him do his own thing than just copy
Yeah.
what came before. Like, Man of Steel looked like Man of Steel because Zack Snyder was directing it, and that's fine. If you prefer that, that's fine. Just don't be a fucking asshole about it. By the way, if you prefer that, cool. This is what James Gunn is doing because, this is how James Gunn is gonna film the flying scenes, and it's different. I'd rather have just James Gunn's vision. I think Troy Oboyo 17 actually talked about this. He's like, I'd rather have James Gunn's vision than a checklist for a Superman movie that feels like a checklist for a Superman movie. Like, we get this thing, we get this thing, we get this thing, we get this thing, and then it just becomes boring.
do a barrel
And it's
roll.
just like that's because that's another friend of mine who
Yeah.
talks about he's a big James Bond fan. He's like, a lot of the problems I feel with the Pierce Brosnan movies is they felt like a checklist. It's like they have to include this thing of James Bond, they have to include this thing, they have to include this thing, and some of those movies
agree.
eventually Die Another
Absolutely.
Day, and they were not good after GoldenEye. So I mean, if people remember them and like them, that's fine. But it's just like when you it feels like a checklist. At first, I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get something like perfect," but I'm like, you know what? Sometimes, maybe we don't get something perfect, but we're gonna get James Gunn Superman.
Yeah.
And you know what? I
I mean-
prefer that than getting something that's gonna check every box of what
I-
everybody wants to see.
I get that completely. But I think in terms of just talking about this shot alone, I agree with Figure Drawing saying that the gimbal part of it is a little off-putting because to me it reminds. Have you seen those Beats commercials? You know, like the Beats, the Power Beats Pro. I actually have them right now, so let me show you. Like, you know, these ones. Have you seen those Beats commercials where they track it so that the camera's rotating and everything, but the beats stay like centered, and so everything else is moving around them. So you can do that in post-production. That's not something you have to actually film for. Like, you can film it with, the gimbal, but then in post-production, you just make sure that you keep that one object in center, in this case, his face, and then everything else, everything else moves around him. It has this very specific effect, and it's just the way it happens in this movie. Honestly, I think a good comparison here is, James Gunn has talked about, Top Gun Maverick being an inspiration.
I like
and you
that.
can see the
And I
side by
do-
side here.
Yeah, I think
So,
we're getting that
yeah.
sort of thing, and that's what I kind of like that, and it's a different way to see flying, and it also kind of reminds me of what Lee Wannell does with his cinematography, where he has like that
Yeah.
kind of gimbal thing, where he has like a straight like guy, and then it like everything is kind of rotating around him. That's like how he created like the off-putting nature of Upgrade, which is a great movie, by the way. So like kind of that weird like machine like robotic off-putting nature was like kind of like that, and I kind of like how he brings that thing. Does it look weird? Maybe, but like I don't mind like him putting his own touch on stuff. Like I don't mind. I know people are like, people need to stop doing this. It's like I you know what? I don't think it's bad.
This
So,
is, by the way,
it's James Gunn
it-
Superman, and that's what I like to see.
Yeah, Jalen's saying exactly. You never want another director copying another. It just feels more the fans than not doing your own thing. And then, of course, it's Mochi saying, I'm going to be honest, I still don't like the cinematographer for this movie, but I see his improvements, and I'm happy it feels like his own thing. Look, at the end of the day, this is literally probably the first and maybe the only thing so far for the marketing for this movie that hasn't gone over well. So it will be interesting to see how they treat that, like in terms of like, James Gunn so far, of course, he's answered the question. It's not CGI. I mean, the background plate he even said is literally, directly from the Svalbard where they shot that in Norway. Of course, the Today Show featured it, so James Gunn shared that clip. But in terms of what James Gunn said himself, he said, look, not only is there zero CG in this space, yes, it's a little distorted because we use a wide-angle lens, which to me is maybe not the best choice. But then he said, look, the background plate is in Svalbard. It's 100% real, as is David. So there's not much CGI here. I mean, obviously, there's probably a little bit of CGI in terms of like how the snow is flying and stuff. So a little in terms of how it was composited together in the VFX. process,
But
but
he specifically says zero CGI
yeah,
in his face.
in
That's
his
the only thing
face.
he mentions about CGI.
Exactly.
So, you know,
Yeah. I do agree with you though, JB. It does look a little wonky
it looks
still.
a
I mean,
little
you can't
wonky,
deny
but I'm
that.
not going to shoot my shit at it.
It's
Like, it,
fair.
you know, it looks weird. But
Yeah.
it's like it's whatever. It's like I think I said this before, where it's like it's gonna look like an unrealistic experience. But that's
Yeah.
what I want from a
But I
guy
mean,
that
that's what Superman would
flies and
look like if
shoots
he's flying.
lasers out of his eyes.
Exactly.
Like that's what Gunn put in the gun in Top Gun, you know. Uh sorry, bad joke. But that's what, you know, I'm like that's what I'm kind of hoping for. That's why I kind of like this lens that the gimbal, like fisheye, like wide angle lens kind of look to it. Like when he's like punching the glass and he kind of has like the
There's
foot
a
is on
motif
the,
for that, like a lot of
there's like
center framing,
yeah,
the wide
I
angle
like how he's
lenses for
doing that.
scale. It shows scale well, like when you use a wide angle lens in that way. Yeah.
Am I gonna act like it's like the greatest decision ever or the greatest thing ever? No, but it's like it's what James
Yeah.
Gunn wants to do. And if we don't like it, here's the thing. There was a great scene from, I know this is gonna be weird, but like stay with me here. Let me cook, as the kids would say. There's a great scene from the movie Trumbo. It's Bryan Cranston. Great movie. I think he got nominated for it.
Mhm.
Where he's talking to Otto Preminger on making his movie Exodus, and Dalton Trumbo keeps delivering him pages of his script, and Otto Preminger's like, "No, I don't like this page because it's not perfect," and he's like, and I forget what the exact line was, but Dalton Trumbo was like, I don't know if this was an actual actual altercation, but he was like, if every scene in your movie is perfect, then it's not an experience. That's, I know that's kind of silly to say about a Superman movie,
Yeah.
but it's like if every scene in this movie, every shot is perfect, then it's boring. Like, or going to another superhero movie, if everyone's super, no one will be. If every shot in this movie's perfect,
The Incredibles.
then
Yeah.
it's not perfect. That's you know, um so that's what I'm kind of like, okay, sure, a wonky shot. If
Right.
people like this TV spot, which was like what 45 seconds, and they're complaining about 1 second, and they're only complaining about 1 second, that means there is 44 seconds they did not have a problem with.
Oh no, this was only 30 seconds, but still
30 seconds.
I mean,
Fine.
the fact that
That is
people are look,
29 seconds they didn't have a problem with. 1
yes.
second out of 29 seconds, 1 out of 29, I think that's a pretty good track record if that's all we're looking at. I'm just going to say that. Like, if people are only complaining about 1 second
Yeah.
out of a 30-second trailer, then I think, sorry, 1 out of 30,
Right.
29 seconds, then I think we're in good hands.
I think it more than anything it says that people care about this movie so much that they're paying such close attention, which is only could be a good thing, right? And look, they're still working on this movie. If the eye thing is very noticeable, they can easily fix that in post-production. And even if though there's no CGI on there now, if it becomes so distracting, they can go fix that in post. They've got plenty of time. And then people will go see the movie, and then when they get it at home, they'll pause it, and they'll be like, they fixed it, didn't they? And like, you know, it's fine. That's fine. That's if they keep it,
Yeah.
that's fine too. Whatever. I
think
this movie is not
Crypto, by
gonna
the way,
hinge on like a wonky eye shot. Like that's 1
Yeah.
second. But go ahead, sir. You're answering the
I
question from
think
Justin Geeky
Crypto
Guy.
is gonna have, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna be in the movie a ton, but maybe like, I don't know, half the movie, maybe a little bit, maybe a quarter of the movie, quarter to half. Like I feel
Yeah.
like the way that James Gunn's been kind of building it up, and he's like surrounding, you know, he's doing the whole Puppy Bowl thing, which now with the matchup we're getting for the Super Bowl, a lot more people are probably going to be watching now. Because literally nobody except for some parts of New Jersey and some parts of Philadelphia and the fucking tiny section of the Midwest are actually fucking excited about this game. But so a lot more people are probably going to be tuning into the Puppy Bowl. So, and we're going to get stuff like we're going to get the Crypto Trophy or whatever the fuck it was called. So that's kind of exciting. And I think because of that, we're going to be getting a good amount of crypto. We're going to get that demographic. Like, as I've said, like, people who aren't Snyder Bros that are like, I watched the trailer, nothing about this movie excites me, but I'm going to go see it just for crypto. I'm like, you know what? A win's a win. You're still shilling out $15 to see this movie. Sure, it's just for a dog, but hey, you're the one spending your money on this. So, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too. Yeah, figure drawing agreeing with you on the matchup. It's the trilogy, man. Chiefs and Eagles. We'll see. I think the Eagles are the better one team this time around. But hey, look, this I don't know if this is new, but it was interesting it's interesting to bring it up considering the conversation we were having. That James Gunn said that, hey, look, he's inspired by both Zack Snyder and Richard Donner's versions of Superman. He said that seeing the Donner movie as a kid was very cool for me. I took a lot of stuff from that. Zack Snyder did a lot of amazing things with action, and I took a lot from that, and already have before this. So yeah, I mean, James Gunn is taking his cues from what's come before, and look, we have gone the flying scenes now. This is still a very small sample size. In fact, this shot. Well, I mean, there's the barrel roll right there. Looks neat. But this shot, like, we got that before. This was in the teaser to the teaser trailer, remember? So we've already seen that. That wasn't new. What was new is that they continued on with the shot, and he does the whole barrel roll, and then he's flying through the mountains in Svalbard, Norway. I don't know if that's going to be a stand-in for the Arctic or the Antarctic, wherever they are in the movie. Where I'm guessing that's probably near the Fortress of Solitude. But it looks, I'm okay with it. I'm not gonna kill myself over it. It doesn't look perfect, but like you said, maybe that's just something, that was intentional. Certainly, they probably scrutinized every frame of this, TV spot before they put it out. And so if we were talking about it, I'm sure it came up, somebody else brought it up, and James Gunn probably said, you know what, I'm going to keep it the way it is. And therefore we are here. Ron saying, I can't wait for the toys of this movie to come out. And then just some geeky guy saying it's so hilarious seeing people trying to use this upcoming film as an excuse to dunk on Snyder when Gunn admitted he was inspired by it. I agree with you. I think Man of Steel is heavily underrated, and I'm still going to keep watching that movie for years to come as one of the best Superman movies ever made. But that doesn't stop me from going to see this Superman movie and maybe walking away from it thinking this is my new Superman, my new best Superman, my new favorite Superman movie of all time. It's possible. You just got to go into the movie and see it for what it is. And while I'm at it, I'm going to say hello to Steven Ortega. Hello to you in the chat.
Yes,
thanks for joining
sir.
in. Elite Easy saying, not a big Snyder fan, but I did like his Batman action scenes. Didn't need to brand people, or use all the gun variants. True, but you know what? It was in the comics. That's the version he wanted to do, and we got it. Now we're doing something different. So there's no reason to dunk on another filmmaker simply because you didn't like that work. There's no, as I like to say sometimes, there's no reason to yuck on somebody else's jump. You enjoy what you enjoy, and if you don't like it, you don't have to take part in it or watch it. I just think that it speaks volumes to the amount of interest in this movie that people are so up in arms about just 1 second of footage. I mean, we live in the internet era when stuff like this gets blown up, but still, it's good to see that there's so much interest that people have such strong opinions about it. This is one opinion, by the way, that I thought was really good that I found amongst the many on the internet that I enjoyed reading through. So in addition to you guys watching, I wanted to point this out from Waneet. He mentioned that Cavill Superman equals timeless, kind of similar to the conversation we're having. But this new barrel roll in midair shot, fire. David Cornsweet's physics-defying swish just sold me. This is James Gunn screaming, Superman isn't a brooder, he's a golden retriever in a cape. John, what do you think about that take?
Yeah, I like that.
Superman's fun. He's not. And look, I get it. Look, Man of Steel was a dark movie, a darker take on the character, very offbeat, very off type, if you want to call it that, from the comics. Clearly, David Cornsweet's Superman is a return to comic book form, and this is an example of that. And the Watcher saying barrel roll is badass. It is. It very much is. And James Gunn was not kidding when he said that he was inspired by Top Gun Maverick, because somebody, of course, went in and did the comparison, and we have it right here, side by side. I bet you James Gunn looked at that shot. You know what? I think Superman can do that. I think Superman can pull that off. Why not? Let's see what.
I mean, Tom Cruise is essentially halfway there for Green Lantern. So,
pretty much.
I'm just
He's
saying,
also
like,
he's got an office on the Warner Brothers lot. I mean, he could be.
Tom
He's closer to
Cruise
being in a
is.
DC movie than in a Marvel movie. Speaking of superior Iron Man and stuff, I'm
I
like
mean,
Tom Cruise
I
has
will
got an
say,
easier path
Tom
to a DC
Cruise
film.
could have made a good Green Lantern in like the 80s or 90s.
Yeah,
Um,
he could.
good Hal Jordan, but yeah, that's just me.
Yeah, Morkatna saying, by the way, people just need to move on. Cavill is like the Andrew Garfield of Spider-Man. Great actor, great for the role, but that universe and script didn't work out. Get over it, LOL. Look, that movie made plenty of money, but you know what? The Man of Steel was 11 years ago, or now getting close to 12 years ago. So we can definitely move on because the new movie is coming out in a few months, and Superman is what we're excited about now. Tom Cruise is in his 80s or 90s. No, he's not. Come on, figure drawing. He's not that old yet. Calm down.
Till he's 90. Ethan Hunt till he's 90. Let's go.
Yeah.
It's not going to be final.
Yeah. And Henry Cavill was Superman for 10 years. Like, he did make like a good 3 or 4 appearances. So, you know what? He had his time. Now we have David Cornsweet. We can enjoy it. I'm sure maybe if they do a Crisis on Infinite Earths in the future, maybe the two Supermen will meet. Maybe Henry Cavill and David Cornsweet will come face to face. Maybe we'll see that. Garfield's Spider-Man made plenty of money too, Dan. Yes, DC24. I think Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man, period. He had the best Peter Parker. He did the best Spider-Man. Those movies were incredibly underrated, and I do not care what you say about that Rhino. But what's the name of the actor again who played Rhino in the second Spider-Man?
Paul Giamatti.
Paul Giamatti's Rhino goes so hard, and I love it. He's like, "I'll kill you, I'll crush you," in this like really terrible Russian accent. And then the way that movie ends with like Spider-Man getting back in action, swinging that manhole cover at him. Iconic.
I will say I agree
always
with
gonna
Ron.
defend that movie.
George Clooney would have been perfect for Iron Man in the 90s. Yes, because again, essentially he's just playing himself. Although I think Tom Cruise could have been good because he was considered at one point when it was like late 90s, early 2000s. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you know what? Tom Cruise is 62 figure drawing. You're right. So not 90s, not 80s, not yet. Elite Easy thinks Holland is the best Spider-Man.
Gross.
That's an opinion. And you're welcome to have your opinion. I don't think John and I agree with that opinion, but
I think Tobey Maguire has the best Peter Parker. Andrew Garfield has the best Spider-Man, and Tom Holland's okay at both. Like, I will say No Way Home, he definitely won me back because that's the most he's felt like Peter Parker and Spider-Man as a character. Mainly because I think Tom Holland stuck a gun in John Watts' face and be like, make sure this actually feels like a fucking Spider-Man film, you fucking asshole. Yeah. So, I feel like
just
Tom
some
Holland
geeky guy
went Henry Cavill on his.
I am all for giving the third movie to Andrew Garfield. Give it to him now. Give it to him tomorrow. I would love nothing more than for a third Amazing Spider-Man movie. And maybe Sony will do that if they decide to, as part of their rebooting or reshuffling their Sony, Spider-Man universe that they've got going on. But good comment from Miss Mochi. I hope Gunn makes nods to Silver Age Superman, like poking fun at how Superman would transform his face and shoot rainbows. And then Ron saying, well, Holland did do a really good job in No Way Home. He was. I also think Homecoming is underrated. Quite frankly, I think Far From Home is probably the worst of the 3 movies. But yes, I mean, Superman.
I will say,
Tom Cruise,
I would probably agree with that, but here's the thing. I loved Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio. I thought it was a good performance stuck in a terrible movie. Like, I will 100%. So with that, it's ekes a little bit over Homecoming, but that's just for that because the rest of the movie is kind of trash, not gonna lie.
Yeah. We got Game City Savior in the chat. Hello. I don't know if you have seen you in the chat before. Morkatna's still here, the Watcher is still here. I don't know what Elite Easy is salivating over in the chat, but there you go. Game City Savior saying Tom Welling in episode 1 of season 4 of Smallville looks better than this, and this was 20 years ago. Again, it's a very particular take on the character. You can like it, you can not like it. It's still only 1 second of footage, really, 1.3 seconds. So it's a very small part of the movie. It might not even be in the movie.
1 to 2 seconds in a 30-second trailer. If you're only focusing on the 1 to 2 seconds of a 30-second trailer and not the other 28 to 29 seconds, then this trailer did its job because 28 out of the 28 to 29 out of the 30 is really good that nobody's complaining about. Yet they're complaining about the 1 to 2 seconds. And it's like, If it's only 1 to 2 seconds, then this trailer won because that's like 98 to 99% of the trailer being great.
Yeah. I mean, and it was only a 30-second spot, guys. And we're going to get more of these leading up to probably the next big trailer, which maybe it's coming in a couple of weeks. We know we're going to get like a sneak peek that might be really crypto heavy. So that's going to be at the Puppy Bowl, which is going to be the same day as the Super Bowl on February 9th. That's probably the next big release, of any kind of footage or inside looks of the movie. And then from there on, we'll see, whether we get a full trailer. Maybe it's that day. I don't think they're going to buy ad time to give us a full trailer within the Super Bowl broadcast itself. That's just really expensive. I mean, movie studios nowadays, even Marvel, they'll drop a 30-second, watch the full trailer online now. And then, you get a 30-second look on TV, and then you go online and you check out the full, 3-minute long trailer. I feel like that's probably what we're going to get. And then maybe at the Puppy Bowl, they'll do something that's very super, Superman, but certainly crypto specific. So, because I know we're going to have Ozu alongside James Gunn there, and they're going to give out a special crypto award. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to whatever we get, whether it's just an inside look that's very crypto focused or the full trailer. But I mean, again, what I was pointing out earlier, John, this is the first negative, really big negative anything in terms of criticism of whether it's the eyes or the gimbal. I'm interested in seeing how they pivot, if anything, or if they stick to their guns, no pun intended. Because so far the marketing was, 100% praise, everything looks perfect. This is the first time we've seen something here that feels, at least from the fans' perspective, not exactly what they wanted. So I'm interested in seeing if this is a Sonic moment, where they redesign the character. But I guess the only way we're going to find that out is if we get this shot again in another trailer and it looks different, or by the time we get the movie,
or maybe we get a different, an alternate take.
Yeah.
Could
be.
I remember how
they probably shot this multiple times.
Yeah, they probably shot it multiple times, and they probably, and they have. I kind of agree with that. I never liked the collar, but his neck gets a little chilly. But I think, they could probably, if they don't like this take, well, maybe they can just, CGI another one and put that take in the movie that looked a little bit better.
Yeah. Hosea, by the way, pointing out lucky people at CinemaCon, because they will have a 2-hour panel there. And we know James Gunn said they'll have a big presence at CinemaCon this year. And the rumor is, or certainly the expectation is for some people, that we might get a full screening of this movie at CinemaCon in April. So if you go to CinemaCon, which is it's not a Comic-Con, not just anybody can show up. It's primarily for, theater owners, like AMC, Regal, but certainly a lot of mom and pop theater owners out there. It's for them to attend, and then studios come in and they bring all their movies, and usually you'll get sneak peeks, trailers, sometimes entire, entire movie screenings. We might get a full screening for the next Mission Impossible movie. Superman might give us a full screening there. So, it's usually the word spreads, but it's not going to be available to the public. So you have to be part of, either the media or part of the theater the distribution world of movies, whether it's AMC, a smaller movie theater chain, or a Regal, Cinemark. But yeah, we'll have to see if they do a full screening there. And if they do, then, I'm sure the word will get out as to what people thought about it, and we'll be here talking about it. We've got so many of you guys in the chat right now. Of course, if you are new, then we are here 5 days a week on DCU Daily, Monday through Friday. So be sure to hit that like button. And if you want to subscribe, that way you'll see us here, 5 days a week talking about Superman, Batman, Lanterns, of course, Creature Commandos, anything DC related, Clayface. We're here talking about it 5 days a week. By the way, TC24 saying the kaiju shot looks better in this trailer, so it will definitely get improved. And you're right. I mean, I think it's just a color grading maybe looks a little different, or maybe just the rendering on the kaiju looks better. And those kind of details will get better the closer to the movie's release, because they'll keep iterating on that. And then, hopefully by the time the movie comes out, it will look perfect if it doesn't already. So, Mercatna saying Gunn should double down and make the eyes go opposite ways, and then he says,
it's like that fucking looks good to me meme that I've seen.
To me, I would love that. I would totally love it. And then Hosea saying it's 5.5 months away from worldwide release, plenty of time to work on the CGI. Exactly, but again, James Gunn said there's no CGI in this shot. There's no CGI on David Cornsweet's face, and even the background plate is something they shot for real. Like they probably did it on a drone or something, like maybe a chopper where they flew it through the mountains, and so like that's a real camera shot. I mean, the elements that are probably CGI are like the way they're compositing the two pieces together. So the plate with Superman, and then the snow flying is probably CGI. That the Superman, like of course David Cornsweat is real. The background is real, and then the cape. I'm not sure if the cape is CGI because it could be. It's very possible that the cape is CGI. We saw that a lot for when they were shooting Man of Steel. But the way it's being done here, it's certainly very seamless. So it could either be fully CGI, partly CGI, or fully real. Who knows? But we'll see, I guess, maybe when we get the behind-the-scenes footage, when the movie comes out on Blu-ray years from now. But thank you, Morkatna, saying it's an awesome channel. We do think we are, at least, and we're glad that you think so. What is Game City Savior saying? He's saying I don't like the movie.
He's just trolling. He's just being a fucking dickwad.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah. Come on, man. Like you gotta be tasteful here. We're trying to have a good conversation. There's no reason to hate.
Like I know I can be like kind of gross sometimes, but that's don't mention stuff like that, please, in the chat. That's not cool. All right. But yeah. I know it's like people are upset with the walking, but like we got like 5.5 months till till it premieres, so they have time to finish stuff. And it's not like they reshot the movie 3 or 4 times.
Now you're taking shots. Come on, you're taking shots. Okay.
Yeah.
It happens. It happens to movies. It's reshoots are a part of
but process. Like reshoot, like junking the thing and then reshooting that half is like
but I think look, it was Kevin Feige had more control and he was like, you know what, this doesn't work for me, and like it was the changeover from Bob Chapek.
But a
to
Public
Bob
Enemies
Iger.
movie could be good.
Yes.
I preferred Apocalypse to Public Enemies, the Superman Batman movies, but Public Enemies was pretty good, but I think like it would work. Like you gotta make sure, like what I hope will happen, and I hope Andy Muschietti does this, or whoever they get to direct. Let's hope it's not Andy Muschietti. Whenever he's doing his Batman, whenever he's casting his Batman, they need to have a test with David Cornsweat because that is heavily reliant. So you're doing something different from Snyder, and that's fine. You're doing something, and James Gunn said you're going to be seeing them as friends in this DCU. So what they need to do, they need to have a screen test with, any actor they're looking at, famous or not famous, and have them do a test with David Cornsweat, because I feel like the world's finest relationship needs to be near perfect. The chemistry needs to be there. Like maybe not a Public Enemies movie, but like just a future movie with the two of them in a movie together, whether it's Justice League, a Trinity movie, a World's Finest movie, whatever it is, or just them interacting for a little bit, then they need to have that chemistry work. I feel that is very important, and not like saying like Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck post BVS was like bad or anything. It was like okay, but like they didn't have enough time to, because Justice League Superman was dead most of the movie, so like they didn't have a chance to interact a ton. So if they're building on the fact that they're friends from the beginning, awesome, great, that's what I prefer.
Why did you say her name? Why did you say that name?
Then the chemistry needs to be there. That's the important part to me. You need to have.
You mean they didn't have good chemistry in that movie? Yes,
yeah.
I hear you. But I mean, as far as the timeline goes, 2028, 2029 might be a bit early, considering that Batman.
Well, they don't have the entire Justice League Enterprise, and they don't have the entire Justice League.
Like even the Batman movie in the DCU is not coming out probably until at least 2027, 2028. So probably I'd imagine that we might not be getting a Public Enemies, if we do, until at least 2030 maybe. So we'll see. We might get a second Superman movie before we get a Public Enemies. But I mean, also good comment from Hosea saying, I saw people arguing about his arms not being in front of him while flying, and I've seen that people are saying maybe he should have put one of his arms out front like the Christopher Reeve Superman did. But it's even Henry Cavill Superman does that right at the end of his big flying sequence in Man of Steel. He kind of goes 2 arms in the front. We will probably get that at some point, but just because we didn't get that here doesn't mean it's not going to be in there. I mean, I think this looks okay.
Scene, guys.
It's just a taste, So let's not. And Jose, I know that you think so too, but Just saying. By the way, we have Christian Hernandez in the chat. We haven't seen you here before, but welcome on in, of course. Saying Gunn is doing a good job introducing new characters. 100% agree. I think this movie will be a testament to that because there's so many new characters from all the meta-humans as well as all the other supporting characters. Lots to get into. Just some geeky guys saying Gunn should make a Justice League film with Luthor leading the Legion of Doom. I know that's what they wanted to do in the DCEU, so it's possible. Is that where we're going right now? No idea.
I would love to see the Legion of Doom, the Injustice Gang, the Injustice League, whatever they decide to call it. Legion of Doom has like the more like cute title. I prefer that because it's like very Silver Age. But like just get some like lesser known people that maybe you can get Gorilla Grodd because they already confirmed him. Get like Lex Luthor, throw in like I don't know, Giganta. Like you're never gonna see her in a Wonder Woman movie, or get like a small like Green Lantern villain, like Dr. Polaris. Get like a small time Batman villain or something like that, or like just any small time villain. I think that could be really good. But like someone that has like a lot of screen presence. I think I would love to see the Legion. That's who they should have started with in the DCEU, is have them start with a Legion of Doom, because that's like it's characters characters that have been confirmed. Because I just feel like New Gods was too much. And I understand that Zack Snyder didn't plan to do like 20 movies that Warner Brothers wanted to do. That's not on him. That's on them, because he had a vision, they had a vision, and they didn't meet. And that was a big issue. But I think start small. Like start as small as you can. I mean, even though I've said many a times, I've said many a times that I want them to start small, but not do Lex Luthor, do another character, do Metallo or Parasite. Come on, guys. They didn't have enough time. So that's the thing. If you exactly, because there was nothing there.
Hello, Musicron, by the way.
So that's hello. That's what I'm saying. Like, when you cast a Batman, Andy Muschietti, if you're still on this goddamn fucking movie, which no one wants you to be at this point, then that's like one of the final bits of like audition stuff. Have him do a screen test with David Corenswet, because the chemistry needs to be there from the beginning with these two. Like, they're two very different men with very different ideas of justice, but their belief in justice is what brings them together and makes them one of the greatest friendships in the DC universe. You need to have that there from the beginning. So that's what I want to see. And most importantly, we didn't get that from the DCEU. Again, I don't blame anybody for that except for Warner Brothers. So I just want to see that, because they're just such a great friendship, and I just never liked the idea of like immediately Batman is like, I don't like this guy, so I'm gonna fight him, I'm gonna fucking kill him, and blah blah blah. I never liked that person. That's just a personal view. I'm not.
I mean, I get it, because it was a very particular take on Batman. Like, if there's a 1% chance, you have to take it as an absolute certainty. He was a Batman who was
mathematician.
He was a bit on the edge, I don't know, but that misses the point. It's not about math. It's about he's saying Superman is that
I'm
powerful.
just saying he should have worded it differently. I blame David.
I thought that was very well written. It was perfect dialogue for what it was. It wasn't even written by David Goyer. It was
co-written.
Yeah.
Remember, Chris Terrio didn't get the full deal, so
that's fair.
He got the full deal with Justice League, which is the best out of the three, which is not saying much, but
By the way, good question from Musicron. Before we finish up, I just wanted to kind of see if we can address that. Asking, I wonder how they will eventually work in Joel Marduenia's Blue Beetle.
I don't think they're gonna do. I know the rumor is like what people want to see is like, oh, Teen Titans. Bro is like 25 at this point. I don't think that, and the character, unless they really change it, I don't think they will. He's out of college at this point, so I don't think he's gonna be on the Teen Titans. Most likely, he's gonna show up in the Booster Gold
series.
So whoever it's gonna be,
he also has an animated show of his own, right? Like, there's an animated Booster.
There is an animated show, but if we're talking about live action specifically.
Right. Because he's probably going to voice the character in the animated show. So there you go. That's probably the first appearance. I mean, the chat is still alive and well. Jalen saying, I'm still waiting to give Andy a chance and prove people wrong, but that's just me. Look, we'll have to see. Like, whenever the Batman movie comes out, the DCU Batman, we'll have to just see until then. We also have Manuel 7 in the chat. Welcome on in. And they're talking about the Dark Knight. I was like the Dark Knight fight with the armored suit. It was like the Dark. Yes, exactly. Again, we're all excited for this new Superman movie, and we're so glad that all you guys are joining us, and so many new faces and names in the chat. If you are new, of course, we are here 5 days a week on DCU Daily. Just ask Ron, just ask Hosea, Elite Easy E, TC24. They're here each and every day with us. So, we're glad you're part of the community. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you know when we go live. Music Ron saying, good point. He's great with comedy as well. He would work well in a background as a BG show, Booster Girl show. Talking about Joel Maduenya as Blue Beetle. Yes, and it's also a comic book precedence, right? Like we've seen them in animated things before in the Justice League shows from back in the day. So we'd love to see those two characters together. And thank you, Ron. Thank you for all your compliments. Thank you everybody for stopping by. I mean, look, to me, clearly the flying sequence from this trailer or this TV spot was the standout moment. Getting the cool Lex Luthor shot. Yes, I know Liz is going to talk about this tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see get her
gonna be
opinion on it.
dropping tomorrow.
Not on the show. This is not that kind of a show.
No, that's Oh So Curious at nighttime. That's Oh So Curious at night.
That's probably gonna be like a Patreon exclusive, or like you gotta be a member or something. We're not gonna get into that.
That's when you guys are gonna get my feet pics. You gotta pay extra for that. That's gonna be the $1,000 Patreon sub thing.
Yep. The aura farming here. Yes, absolutely. Dude, those glasses, they need to put that in. They need to do like a collab with like some brand and then sell the heck out of it. Something. Remember when Tony Stark's like glasses from Avengers Endgame, they became like a thing you can buy. I'm sure those sold millions. So I will definitely get myself a pair of those if they were available to buy. There's so many things in this movie. I'm like either that or you just sell the Ultraman glasses, like the goggles. It kind of looks like what Mad Bomber's character wore in the Doom Patrol show. That was interesting. We got 3 kisses from Curious. Triple. Never mind. I read that completely wrong. Ron saying Triple X Curious. Oh yes. Yeah. You know what? That's not what we're doing on this show. That's saying so Curious plus a subscription.
Gotta wait for the OnlyFans on that one.
And dude, yes, Mochi, yes, I really think I agree with you that Lex will somehow be the favorite character for a lot of people in this movie because he just looks like he's
Enterprising Rosenbaum vibes, and that's still
Yes,
I like.
And you know what James Gunn? Do you remember that James Gunn quote about Lex Luthor in the movie that was saying like
he's gonna be a sorcerer.
He walked into the room and he was like a sorcerer, and people were just marveling at him. He is the man. It's like James Gunn loved Nicholas Hoult in this role, so I'm sure he's giving him lots to do. I'm excited for that. Jalen Harris saying, I'm predicting it now. 3rd Superman movie, Lois gets Superman's powers and becomes Superwoman. Let me cook. Well, we'll have to see. I don't know if that's the direction we want to go in, but Mercatna saying, yes, Nicholas is going to kill it. Excited for his performance too. 7 Manuel 7 saying, it's a solid cast. I'm actually surprised I wasn't too excited at first when I heard about it. Exactly. A lot of people still saying, and so a lot of people certainly were saying early on, this movie has too many characters. And I'm like, but you know what? When we were doing all the behind the scenes photos, Sean, remember what I kept on saying? There's only one actor who you keep seeing each and every day. Other actors cycle in and out, and that's David Cornsweet. David Cornsweet was on set every day. It's his movie. It's a Superman movie. Everybody else, is in the movie, but it's firmly a Superman movie. So, Hoult is coming.
TC24, he's trying to get on the Mount Rushmore with Heath. And don't forget with Colin Farrell now, too.
Yep. And then Jose saying, trying to get away from that Lex Luthor from Jesse Eisenberg. Ding, 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 ding. They've heard the bell has been rung. And
the bells cannot be unrung. Ring, ding, 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 ding. Ring, ding, 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 ding.
I'm just
honka,
like,
honka.
If it was a manic Lex Luthor, like he did it well. You know what? There's a certain quality to that performance that I appreciate. But yes, Yes. Elite Easy saying live action Music Maestro also played by NPH, please. Ron's, they're coming. Ding 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 ding. Yeah, and he just says it under his breath.
I would
Yeah.
love Music Meister live action, not played by Darren Criss, although he did a good job in that episode. I want NPH guy. I want him in a shitty redheaded wig and him look like the character from Brave and the Bold. That would be amazing. That would be amazing. I would love to see
Well,
that.
I mean, PC24, if you want to clip that shot of John, you're welcome to. I think you can do it in the live, like on YouTube. There's a way to clip it. Yeah. Feel free to.
Ring ding 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 ding.
Yeah, what the Morgana's like, what does Lex say? Ding 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 ding.
They're coming. Yeah, no, we know what you're talking about. The Music Meister. Yeah, Brave and the Bold.
Yeah.
Love it.
Absolutely. What else? I want to see if I can get to all your comments. You guys are still going at it. Is Mochi saying one thing that is bothering me is the fact that Damien is here and not John Kent, unless John is already here and Lois and Clark have been in a relationship for a while. I don't think we're that far along in terms of the next generation of characters. And Damien, I think the reason why they're doing Damian Wayne is because that's one way for them to differentiate the DCU Batman from every other Batman that we have seen. We have never
you could
seen
do
a
that
Damian
with any
Wayne.
Robin because we really haven't gotten a
Yeah.
proper Robin since Batman and Robin, which but the thing is you could have done Jason Todd, you could have done Tim Drake, you didn't have to do Damian Wayne.
Yeah.
Which I mean he is the worst Robin, but like, you know, you could have fucking done Stephanie Brown, even though she was Robin for 2 seconds, got killed, it got retconned she was Robin, and then got retconned back that she was Robin in comics. So you know how it is. But yeah, I think
Yeah. Yep. And I agree with you. We will get a menacing Lex, who also has a bit of a arrogant charm to him. If you look at the trailer that they put out, the teaser trailer not too long ago, just weeks ago still, that shows you a little bit of that. And with the whole when he's holding the gun, and of course you see in the theatrical version of that trailer that he's walking into the Fortress of Solitude. They're probably gonna go wreck shop. They're gonna kill the robots, like you said, John. But yes, I mean, I'm excited to see what we get from the movie. Again, we're here talking about it. Whether it's the Bat Family, whether it's the rumored Titans movie, Superman, Supergirl, Lanterns, that's what DCU Daily is all about because, we're here. DCU Daily's in the name. We're here to talk about the movie each and every day. I'm excited to see what the next look at this movie is going to be. Maybe we'll get it tomorrow. Maybe we'll get it, in a couple of weeks' time when the Super Bowl happens and Puppy Bowl, both on the same day, February 9th. That's the next big date that we should be on the lookout for. But until then, we will be here. We will be here tomorrow with the No So Curious times DCU Daily. So we'll review Flight Risk. There's a couple other movies that we'll probably get in on as well. And then we'll be talking about the latest from the world of DC. We might get into some Marvel news. There's some other stuff going on in the world of Hollywood that I'm sure we'll dive into as well. But in the meantime, guys, if you haven't already, what are you doing? Hit that like button. We do appreciate that because that way we know that you enjoyed the video. And then if you subscribe, you'll be able to, find us in your YouTube feed a lot more easily. If you're watching us on X or if you're watching us on Facebook or Twitch or TikTok, wherever you're finding us, of course, be sure to follow.
Please go to sleep, Ron.
Yes, Ron is probably tired. He's in Canada. Some of you guys watching are probably watching from other parts of the world where it's in the middle of the day. It's pretty late here on the East Coast. But hey, while you're at it, hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. Like I said, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, DCU Daily. It's in the name. But John, we've got another Superman ad. He's an icon, and that's very much true. We'll hopefully get a little more footage in the next thing that we get, which will be probably the Puppy Bowl. Until then, until tomorrow, it's been another great show. We've been here for like 2.5 hours. But with that in mind, we'll see you tomorrow on another episode of DCU Daily. Until then, guys, go out there, watch something DC related. We'll see you next time. Look up. Oh, you're not gonna say bat nipple?